Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let me get this turned up just a little bit. There we go. Should be... There we go. Okay. Hello. Hello and welcome to one of the narration streams. How is everyone doing tonight? Hello. All right, let's see here. Let's get rolling. All right. Good evening, listeners. Welcome to the live narrations stream. I've got things. You know, I'm still getting everything together here, but thought I'd swap the scenes over so that we can chat a little bit as people start trickling in here. All right. I'm seeing some new faces. Welcome, Ariel. I guess that's how you pronounce that name, or Ariel, whatever. All right. Let's see. I'm doing well. I have enjoyed. I slept until about. Okay, so I got back into Stardew Valley for the first time in like 5 years, and because of that, I stayed up until like 7 in the morning this morning. So I've been asleep until about 5:30-ish. So, took a shower, got me some food, got everything here set up. I got just finishing up getting the story list for us tonight, and we will, you know, we're good to go on that front. All right. Ooh. All right. So, press 1 in the chat if this is your first time ever tuning into a narration stream, because if you haven't ever been here, it's a bit of a interesting situation here. It's a bit of an interesting little setup that we've got here. Oh, excuse me. All right. All right. 6 new people. 7. All right. Excellent. Okay. So, for those of you who are new, we have a bit of a setup here for live narrations. I have a set list of stories that I will be narrating tonight. And if you would like me to narrate any of your story requests, I have down at the down in the chat bar, there's a little button there that says show your support for Wuten. You can super chat and pledge $10, and that will, and then you put in your story request, the title and the author of the story, and then anything, I will read anything that is 10,000 words or less. If you're on FimFiction, it should show the total word count of the story at the bottom right of the little blurb for the story. So, if you would like me to read one of your story requests, you can super chat that, and then, or you can do a YouTube membership for the $10 tier, and then make your story request then. Beyond that, I have a set list of stories that I've already set up here, and we will be going through that just one at a time. And if there's a story request that comes in during one of those, I will just add it to the queue of stories, and we will just get right into it. But yeah, I plan on knocking out every single story that gets requested today. And, oh, excuse me. I plan on knocking out every single story that comes in today, and we will get things rolling here. Let's see here. Can we get a My Little Pony X ReZero starting life in another world crossover fanfic story? So I don't write the stories. I only narrate them. So if there is a good story that you would like me to read of that subject matter, you can go ahead, find it, super chat, and then post the story's author and example right here. Lightning Burn 324 has oh no, it's the okay. I'm definitely gonna be adding this one. Okay, so he sent that to me, so I've got that one. Okay. Diving in head first. Okay. Oh, God. That's fucking story. All right. So, we have... let's see. Just... so, as an example, Lightning Burn just did a super chat for $10 for the second part of a story that he requested last time. And so I've gone ahead and I've added that to the queue of stories that we're going to be doing tonight. And Saws, no, not follow Equestria Project Horizons, please. All right, okay. Let's see, Fallout Equestria Project Horizons. Oh my God. The first chapter is 23,000 words. Jesus Christ. No, I will not be doing Fallout Equestria Project Horizons. Not because I wouldn't read it, but because it is beyond the scope of a story request of 10,000 word limit. But yeah, it is literally, oh my God, 1.78 million words is Project Horizons. Good Lord. All right. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, we are not reading that. But Saws, thank you. For those wondering, yesterday I did a little bit of a silly, and I posted a comic dub of Low Punny and some silly little goofing around. But Saws is the voice of Low Punny. And he did a wonderful job voicing Low Punny, as I think there was a comment that I saw where it was voicing him like a Frank from Chicago. It was very well done, and I've me and him we've already done the second comic of that series, so we'll be I'll probably post it next weekend, just to give the first one a little bit of time to, percolate through the YouTube algorithm. But yeah. All right. Let's see here. What do you say we go ahead and get right into it here with our first story of the night? Let's get... Let me go ahead and get that up here. Okay. All right. So our first story of the evening is The Voices Inside My Head by Amilitan. I don't know how to say this fucking name, but it's gonna be good. Here we go. To the kitchen. Nightmare Moon had won. Equestria was hers. Oh, thank you, SS Stallion. One of the few YouTubers to bring me back to MLP. Welcome home. So, Nightmare Moon had won. Equestria was hers, the world was cast in eternal night, and all the moon pies were hers for the taking. So she should be pretty happy, right? The unconscious noble that lay before her throne would say otherwise. She was, in fact, very, very irritable. But why? YMCA, something, 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 YMCA. A male voice sang in her head. A pang in her head throbbed, hearing the voice. Guards! Get this flesh bag out of my sight, and then excuse yourselves from the room, she ordered, rubbing her head with a hoof. The two bat guards saluted and did as they were instructed. Walking over to the collapsed body, they grabbed them by their hind legs and started to drag the nobleman out of the room. Then a second feminine voice joined in. Young sir, art thee listening to me? That's the wrong use of thee. Art thou should be. Followed by the male voice again. I said, young man, what do you... Oh my god. I just brain farted. Okay. Young sir, art thee listening to me? I said, young man, what do you want to be? Nightmare's eyes twitched. Once the door to the throne room shut, Nightmare Moon let out a frustrated scream, cutting off the singing duo. Shut your mouth flaps, you insolent dirtbags! She seethed. It was quiet, but a drawn-out hum soon interrupted it. Luna, I have a feeling our buddy old pal Mooney ain't too happy. 'Tis appears so, Anonymous, Luna replied. I wonder why, Anon said, humming. I said be quiet, you heathen, before I go in there and banish you myself. Nightmare stomped her hoof in anger. A scoff resounded in her mind. That's the payback I get for saving your hide from the magic gay beam? Elements of harmony, Anonymous, Luna quietly corrected him. Harmony schmarmony, same thing. Sometimes I wish you hadn't. I would rather be upon the moon than deal with this, Nightmare confessed, crossing her hooves in a mock pout. Hey, that's not fair to say. You get to move freely out there while I and Moon Toots are stuck within the confines of your mind. Isn't that right, Luna? I think this person doesn't quite understand how to do the old Ponish. Tis is correct. She tapped her hoof impatiently. As much as she wanted to banish him to the deepest depths of Tartarus, she did owe to bring his physical body back for saving her. And she may have a teensy-weensy crush on him, but that was beside the point. So now she sits upon her throne, a human and a former princess stuck within her head. What's a queen to do? I hunger for the substance they call cheese, Anon declared. I too do hunger for what those gents calleth cheese, Luna also declared. As much as she didn't want to admit it out of pure spite, she too wanted cheese. Huh, fine. I will ring a nearby maid. Anonymous scoffed at her. What is wrong with you? What now? Asked a cranky Nightmare Moon. The best part about eating cheese is ransacking the fridge yourself at 3 a.m. You're gonna have a maid ruin that for you? No, we go to the kitchen ourselves. What maketh eating cheese ourselves any different from sending a maid to receiveth it? Asked Luna. Yeah, what's the difference? It's all about the experience you get out of it. Like, poking holes in your eraser, or pretending to be dead in a swimming pool just to see if anyone cared, Anon passionately explained. I think the last one is just you, Anonymous, deadpan Nightmare Moon. Art thee fine, Anonymous? Were thee not given loveth as an adolescent? Luna sympathetically asked. What? No, yes, look, you're not getting the point. Point is, doing this will allow us to become more relatable and sociable with other ponies. All the ponies are too scared to talk to me. And even if they do, it's about foreign problems, grumbled Nightmare Moon. Well, maybe thee shouldn't hast banished my sister to the travelling lamp and tooketh over the kingdom, snorted Luna. Maybe if you weren't so weak, I wouldn't have taken matters into my own hooves, retorted Nightmare. Hark here, hag! Oh wait, no, that's Luna. Hark here, hag! Can we just get some fucking cheese? Anonymous shouted, silencing the both of them. After seconds of stillness, Nightmare scoffed. Fine, I'll do it for the experience, she mocked in his voice. Ignoring her, he shouted in glee. Huzzah! To the kitchen, squire! Nightmare Moon stepped into a small room. The room was her personal kitchen, away from the bigger kitchen that served the big dining room the castle had. The kitchen also housed 3 of her best chefs, hoof-picked by hers truly. Clearing her throat, Nightmare immediately got the attention of the chefs. In a panic, the 3 of them immediately slammed their heads to the ground in a quick bow. One of them, an orange-colored stallion, lifted his head. What can we do for you, your majesty? He stuttered. Keeping her face neutral, she waved a wing at them. Congratulations, you have been relieved for the night, she half-heartedly said. Another chef, a green mare, lifted her face, terror evident in her eyes. Did we disappoint, mistress? Please don't fire us. I'm the best one anyway. These hooligans just sit around all day while I do the work. Finally, the last chef, an older cream-colored stallion, raised his head and scowled at her. Oh, that's blasphemy. You can't even cook scallops properly. And you, the stallion looked at the other orange chef, somehow burn lettuce. The flustered orange stallion stammered before firing back. Well, at least I don't take a bathroom break every 30 minutes, Mr. Small Bladder. The trio soon delved into arguing with each other. It was all that was needed to tick the queen off. Silence, you mortals! The fighting stopped, and the 3 put their heads back to the ground. We're sorry, mistress, they said in unison. Finding her peace, Nightmare let out a sigh. Now go, before I make your fur my new rug. Waving at the door with her wing, the chefs hastily walked out of the kitchen. Once the last one left and closed the door, she set her sights on the many cabinets that were in front of her. Sheesh, someone knows how to take charge. Kinda sexy in a weird way. A smack resounded in her head. Thee not dareth lust after this wench. The demon trapped us in her mind, remember? Besides, if it be true thee were to court any pony, I obviously would be the more quaint option. The flustered alicorn rolled her eyes. Ah, shut up, you short-haired blueberry. I'm trying to find a way to make bodies for the both of you. At least for Anonymous, anyway, Nightmare thought. Walking over to the many cabinets, the rulers scanned the labels each had. Fruit, vegetables, meat, dairy. You cannot hide from me. With a sparkle of her horn, Nightmare opened the cabinet door and pulled out a small white wheel of cheese. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Chill there, Queen Gobbler, Anonymous quickly said. What now? Nightmare grumbled. You didn't check the flavor. Sighing, she looked at the cheese and shook her head. Using her magic, the cheese poofed in place. Bayaz Paynir. It's a salty white cheese made from unpasteurized sheep or cow milk. Dope. A cool cheese fact. I know, I'm pretty smart, aren't I? She boasted. Too bad thee art lacking knowledge with courtship, Luna said, shooting her down. Quiet, heathen! The now red Nightmare Moon shouted. Calming down, she looked at the piece of dairy grasped in her magic. Leaning to take a bite, Anonymous interrupted again. Wait! You gotta eat it properly! He shouted. Nightmare Moon sighed and levitated it away. And how would I possibly eat it, Anonymous? You gotta grate it first. Such a longest process to consume cheese, commented Luna. Because it's all about the experience. Yeah, I know, Nightmare said, cutting him off. Looks like a little bit of a looked like a little bit of a formatting error. Formatting error right there. All right. Forgot to remove the little yeah. All right. The experience. Yeah, I know, Nightmare said, cutting him off. She then levitated a grater from one of the smaller cabinets near the ceiling. Aw, she's learning. Shush! Now behold, as I will commence the process of eating cheese, Nightmare said in mock awe, hovering the grater and cheese above her. Now start slowly. You don't want to rush this, Anonymous instructed. A royale with cheese, yeah. Following his orders, she opened her snout and slowly started to rhythmically move the dairy up and down the grater. Soon, small slivers of cheese floated down from the grater into the mouth. Every piece that landed on her tongue assaulted her with a deliciously salty experience. Stopping to chew the substance, she noted that it was soft and somewhat gooey. Swallowing, she opened her mouth again and picked up the pace. More cheese flakes landed upon her tongue, like snow, but more dairy. It was starting to be a joyful experience that, had it not been for the sudden inclusion of Anon and Luna. So fucking good. Oh, that's what I'm full talking about, Anonymous moaned. Oh, Anonymous, it doth feel, so valorious. I seeth why thee consume cheese like it this anon. Alas, keep it going, Nightmare. Ah, please! Luna all but screamed. Stopping mid-stroke, Nightmare glared at the ceiling. What on goddess's name are you two doing? She silently whispered. Oh, hey, why'd you stop? I was beginning to enjoy myself, Anonymous angrily asked. A small whine of need was produced from Luna, probably agreeing to what Anon said. No. I don't want to be part of this sick fantasy, Nightmare said, setting down the cheese and grater. Please continue. I'll do anything, pleaded Anon. Nightmare stopped and gazed at the nearby wall. Anything? She asked. Well, Anon hesitated. Just taketh the deal, Anonymous. I beggeth of thee, Luna begged, seemingly to find her bearing. Seeming to find her bearings, you mean. Hearing her, Anonymous hummed and thought. Ugh, okay, but no weird shit. Like that time you had me do that weird ASMR thing with one of your erotic books. No, I said anything. No, I said anything. Or shall I leave the kitchen? Sighing louder, Anon finally gave in. Fine. Now, cheese time. Squealing in glee, Nightmare hastily picked up the cheese and grater and resumed eating. Through the night, Nightmare Moon and the two voices in her head went through cheese wheel after cheese wheel, till there was no more cheese to be found in the castle. How was Nightmare Moon able to do this? With magic, you dummy. And so our happy story ends here. Now scram! The football game starts soon. The end. That was a funny little something. I'm gonna go ahead and this one is The Voices Inside My Head by Amilition. I think that's how you say it. But yeah. So hope y'all enjoyed that little warm up story just to get us into the spirit of things. Cheese to have a happy ending. Exactly, John. Ah. All right. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. My brother's already watching the football game. Damn. All right. Nice. Okay. So the next story that I've got here is one from the second half of a story request from last week Lightning Burn made a request for A Glimmer in Her Eye Part 2. So, Chapter 2. So, oh, excuse me. So that's going to be our next story is A Glimmer in Her Eye. Do You Even Need to Try? By Amethyst Dawn. All right. So, last time, the reader, quote unquote, is a pony and ran into Starlight Glimmer in, I think it was the Everfree Forest, crying, and then invited her back to their place for something or another. Let's find out what that is today, shall we? So, A Glimmer in Her Eye, Chapter 2, Do You Even Need to Try? By Amethyst Dawn. The walk back to your house was relaxed and enjoyable. You and Starlight had spent most of the time chatting and sharing life stories of trials and errors past. You aren't sure, but you feel a spark between her and you, as if your bond was somehow growing stronger. You almost catch her staring at you a few times, but you're never quite sure if that's just your imagination. Once you arrive at your house, you open the door rather unceremoniously, yet graciously offer her to enter first, upholding your philosophy of ladies first. Shouldn't it be mares first? Ladies is like the human version. Anyway, giggling, Starlight bows slightly before entering your humble abode. You soon follow after and close the door behind you. Once inside, she admires the interior of the shack, giving a low whistle at the decor. You sure know how to make a house into a palace, don't you? She chuckles. You shrug. I find it helps with customer satisfaction, so yeah, you say awkwardly. After a moment of awkward silence, you're panicking internally, until a thought enters her mind. Did you say you had board games? Oh, thank Faust, you sigh to yourself. This mare is a godsend of anti-awkwardness. You nod rather eagerly and gesture towards your couch. In fact, I do. I'll go dig up a few options. You make yourself at home. You stay behind to make sure she's comfortable and let her know about the spare cider in the fridge. After you're assured of her comfort, you head upstairs and open the first closet you see. It's filled to the brim with board games of all types and sizes, from chess to Monopoly, and even a couple you made yourself. You pick out the 3 options: checkers, Othello, and that Shadow Spade game Rarity recommended to you. You're about to bring them downstairs when a frightening thought smashes through your consciousness. Holy shit, you forgot to close that damn notebook! In a panic, you race down the stairs and back out to the living room, only to find the most terrifying sight you'd ever thought you'd see. Starlight Glimmer, sitting motionless, staring into your open notebook. Your heart races as you examine her reaction. Her hoof has been daintily lifted to her chest and was currently held over her heart. Her mouth formed a small O, and her eyes were wide and filled to the brim with fresh tears. Her face was so red, you'd swear you could fry eggs on it, and several tears. That is certainly a metaphor. Her face was so red, you'd swear you could fry eggs on it, and several tear trails marked her cheeks. That is certainly a metaphor. Heart sinking, you sulk over to the notebook and you close it with a hoof. Her lack of motion, aside from moving her eyes from the book to your own, smites you with despair. You sit down, writhing inside from utter defeat, and let out a sad sigh that shudders your entire form. So, now you know. Nothing. No movement, no signals, no reaction. As soon as she leaves this house out of terror, you swear you're going to quietly recede into your room and starve to death. I never meant for you to find out. Well, not like this, anyways. You choke. I've had these feelings. Never mind. You must think I'm a creep. You get up and sulk back towards the stairs. I'll go put the games away. We don't need them anymore. I'm sorry for this, for all of it. Just go. You feel tears swell behind your eyes as you turn away from her for the last time. You slink up the stairs, kick the games into the cupboard, and walk at a snail's pace into your bedroom, closing the door behind you. After what seems like an eternity, you hear the front door close, and you finally break down, shuffling onto your bed. It hurt. All of it. You've lost your best friend. A small piece of your heart is slightly relieved that she finally knows, but that speck started floating around loosely when your heart shattered. Once you were sure she was out of range, you clench your hooves, rear your head, and scream in utter anguish out of what you've done. After letting it all out, you curl up into a ball and give up. That lovely smile will never appear before your eyes again. Those luscious orbs of pure ocean sapphire will never twinkle in the same way when you're around. She'll most likely either just stay around to be polite or avoid you altogether. And you're not even sure which one of those you prefer. Suddenly, you hear the front door slam shut and violent hoof steps running towards the stairs. Groggily, you stand up and head towards the door. Whatever beating you get from her, you probably deserved at this point. The door flew open, and in it stood a very, very pissed-looking Starlight. Tears still marked her cheeks. Her face was still red as hell, but her face was one of utter determination. My goodness. You fall to your knees and bow your head, ready for a painful journey to the afterlife, when you suddenly feel the force of a freight train crash into you, pinning you to the ground. You're prepared for the inevitable contact of her hooves upon your eyes, yet you're greeted, with another thing entirely. Oh. I was hoping there was going to be a beating, god damn it! While your eyes are still closed, you feel her press her lips against yours, forcing your eyes to shoot open. You look her face over to make sure you're not going crazy, and sure enough, her face was scrunched up into pure... Well, you don't know any words to describe what her face betrayed, but you're certainly confused by it. And her cheeks somehow grew even redder at the contact. Her lips were soft and delicate, yet they held a degree of firm passion and care. The taste of mint flowed into your mouth as hers caressed yours, and you slowly let yourself relax as your hooves wrap around her back. But it was all over too soon, as she broke the kiss and stared into your eyes. There was a new sparkle there, one you'd never seen in any other pony's eyes before, and yet you knew exactly what it meant. Unexpectedly, however, she grabs you with her magic and shakes you in midair like a rag doll, screaming in your face the whole time, "For the love of the Celestials, why didn't you ever tell me? I've been in love with you for a plucking month! Do you even know how long that is in female years?" She places you back on the ground and immediately gets in your face, staring at you with rage. "Now, if you don't kiss me in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to freeze you in a crystal and drop you from..." You, in spite of your gentlemanly nature, don't even give her time to finish. All you needed to hear was her saying, "Kiss me," and you were lost. You thrust your lips into hers with one sudden movement, taking your turn to have a face on fire. If rational thought was water, Starlight just dropped a great heap of magnesium into yours. My goodness. Okay. That's another oddly specific metaphor. Instincts took over as you lift a hoof to wrap around her neck. You feel her mirror the action as she moans into your lips. At this distance, you can even smell the peach shampoo that she uses, and it complements her perfume perfectly. You let all your passion flow into your lips as she does the same. Every tilt of your head is mirrored seamlessly, and she never resists your embrace. Oh. Another one from Lightning Burn 324. I will add that to the list at the end of this. By the time you break it, you're both panting, and you feel sweat across your brow, accompanied by the most intense blush you've ever had. Starlight seems to be faring about the same. So, does this mean... You begin, only to have Starlight nod wordlessly. After a few more moments of silently staring into your eyes, or vice versa, you really don't care by now. She decides it's time to head home. And with that final hug, she stands up. See you tomorrow? She asks, hopefully. Still trying to convince yourself that this isn't a dream, you nod slightly. Try and stop me from seeing you, you chuckle, walking her out of your bedroom. Giggling, she stays behind to let you walk her to the front door, and you open it theatrically. Milady! You squeal as a thunderbolt rips the sky in two, making you both jump. This fucking... Bro. Milady. Anyway. You glare outside in disbelief as a downright torrent of a deluge swamps the ground for as far as you can see, and several hail pellets the size of golf balls punch the wet ground with disgusting cracks and clicks. Oh shit. Bro, you might be dealing with a tornado soon. Jesus. Well, I'm sorry, Starlight, you say, turning towards her, but I'm not letting you go out into that You freeze from the look she's giving you. Eyes half-lidded, lips slightly bit, and eyebrows jumping twice. You feel heat rush back to your face as she lights her horn and drags you closer to her. You also hear the door slam rather violently, and next instant, you're face to face with the mare. Look, it's not that I don't love you, but... Suddenly, she bursts into hysterical fits of laughter and pulls you into a tight embrace. I'm just playing with you, Anon, she says, catching her breath. I'll stay on the couch tonight. Now it's your turn to be kind, as a simple resolution makes itself defined in your head. Oh god, this is so cringe, but at the same time, it's kind of... It is cringe, but it is free. How about I take the couch tonight, You need a soft bed more than I do. Besides, I sleep on the couch most days anyways. It's comfy. She gives you an unsure look. You sure about that? You nod in response. Oh, God. Absolutely, my little star. Her face grows red at the nickname, and she smiles shyly. She chuckles to herself as she recedes to the stairs, before looking back to you one last time. Good night, Anon, she says, her voice smooth as soothing saccharine. Good night, Starlight, you reply, feeling your heart warm at the sight of that beautiful smile of hers. Once she was up the stairs, you go to a spare closet and pull out a large, fluffy blanket. You may have given up your bed, but you're not sacrificing all comfort unless there was a need to. That couch was going to kill your back anyways, so why not enjoy whatever joy you could scavenge? Bro, didn't you just say it's comfy? Why would you lie? Bro, you could just share the bed. It's big enough, probably. Anyway. Still, as long as Starlight's comfortable, that's all that matters to you. You blow out the torches, wrap yourself in the down blanket, and very, very, very slowly drift off to sleep. In your discomforted sleep, you dream that you're flying, and can even imagine yourself moving gracefully through the air. You fly up a steep hill, barely missing the jagged stones made as steps, and lay down in a soft meadow. There, a great soft-furred hare hops over, and pulls you in for a tight embrace. A few hours later, you stir from your sleep, and open your eyes to see Starlight cuddled up next to you and find yourself back in your own bed. She did it, boys! She got it! Starlight is shivering slightly under the blanket, making you subconsciously wrap a hoof around her and pull her closer. Nothing was wrong with a little cuddling once in a while, especially when she's so chilly. A smile graces her lips once more as you both drift back into dreamland. Outside, a certain prismatic Pegasus and a particular lavender alicorn admire their handiwork, as the slight flooding prevented any normal ponies from leaving your house. Wait, can't she just teleport out? Rainbow asks, turning over to Twilight. Twilight chuckles to herself and turns to fly back to her palace. Do you really think she'll suggest it? She laughs, taking to the air. Shrugging, Rainbow Dash follows suit. Ah, there you go. Oh, yeah, baby. Starlight, get some! Hell yeah! All right. That's a funny little... That's a cute little ship fic thing. Yeah. This is not bad at all. It's not bad at all. What do you say we hit up the other request that Lightning Burn made here earlier tonight with diving in head first. Here we go. Here we go, boys. In too deep. Diving in head first. Red Heart. So, for context, Anon fisted Rainbow Dash and got his hand stuck inside of her. This is the follow-up. Red Heart didn't know how to feel. On one hoof, what she was seeing was hilarious enough to make her laugh so hard she'd have a heart attack. But on the other, she felt sorry for poor Anon, who was once again in a sticky situation. Red Heart tried to form some kind of verbal response, but couldn't think of anything to say that wasn't some crappy pun or sarcastic jab at the unforeseen human. Or unfortunate human, rather. Anon stood with his head completely concealed in Rainbow's vagina, while his left arm was shoulder deep in Lyra. Okay, first of all, are you all right in there? Red Heart asked with genuine concern.
My head is lodged all the way up my soon-to-be ex-Merfrid's vag, while my left arm is somehow all the way inside a pony who has tried to rape me on several occasions. You tell me if we're really feeling all right in this situation.
Oh wait, he spoke in a dry and annoyed tone.
You tell me who would be feeling all right in this situation.
He spoke in a dry and annoyed tone, his voice muffled. Rainbow chuckled nervously as and tried to ignore the pleasure she was getting from feeling Anon's mouth moving inside of her. Lyra just pouted and crossed her forelegs. I just wanted to try it after hearing what happened with you two last week, Lyra muttered.
Your ass is going straight to jail after this. Then you can be fisted all you want by your bulky soulmate named Shaniqua Shanky.
Anon spat angrily at the mint-colored mare. Red Heart cleared her throat and turned around slightly, fighting the growing urge to laugh hysterically. Well, let's get you to a private room where we can sort this out. As long as Rainbow Dash doesn't overreact to the needles this time, you should be fine. Needles? Anon squeaked in fear, tightening her whole body.
Dash, don't you fucking dare!
Anon shouted in both fear and anger. He did not want a repeat of his right arm. But you know how much I hate needles.
Dash, I swear to Christ, if you freak out again, I will bite off your ovaries!
He yelled while clenching his fists, which caused Lyra to react and accidentally fire a beam from her horn. Everyone paused as they all turned to the large hole in the wall that was caused by the blast. Anon then clenched his left fist again, and Lyra fired out another beam. Anon, what are you thinking? Anon, Red Heart asked cautiously, backing away in fear. Anon smiled wickedly, but of course no one could see as his face was still enveloped in rainbow cooch. 2 days later. As a pack of timber wolves ran through Ponyville, destroying houses and trying to kill the ponies, a tall, disturbing-looking figure stood in their way. A wolf leapt forward, only to be obliterated by a blue beam. Anon stood with Rainbow on his head, Lyra and Starlight on his arms, and finally the royal sisters on his legs.
I am the ultimate! Fear me, for I am Anonymous, Voltron of friendship and horse pussy!
He yelled at the top of his lungs as he slaughtered the timber wolves with his newfound unstoppable power. The end. God damn it. That's a good one. Oh, fuck. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. Oh, man. All right. I am all out of soda. That was my last ginger ale. Now I have to drink water. So, little known fact. Whenever you are doing voice work, little known fact. I hope all of you enjoyed that. that was something different. Oh man. Okay. So, little known fact. Whenever you're doing voice work, if one, you want to have water. Water is the best drink for long recording sessions. But the other thing is you want water that is as close to room temperature as possible, because water that is cold is going to constrict things, and so it's going to color your voice in a certain way that may or may not be what you want. I've got me a 64-ounce tumbler of water. Blubber. All right. I'm gonna take just a short little chatting break as I let my voice recover from that, and because there was actually it was muffled, sure, but I was actually screaming for that, so gotta make sure it's as authentic as possible. So I need to just take a minute or two to rest up my vocal cords. There's one more chapter for that story. Is there for In Too Deep? No, I think there's just the two. At least I'm pretty sure. Let me just scroll. No, I'm pretty sure there's only those two. Yeah. At least from that author. I don't know if someone else wrote a sequel to it, but yeah. All right. Yes, drink water. Drink it. You'll die without it. These riders ain't right. All right. I hope all of you are enjoying the narration stream so far. I'm having a lot of fun with it. All right. I'm just checking a couple of things while I let my voice recover. How is everyone doing tonight, by the way? I know that today for the U.S. is Labor Day, so I hope that everyone managed to get off work and enjoy resting up a little bit. Oh. All right. Now that. I sure am glad I was on. I'm sure am glad I did not have the browser feed open when I opened that. Oof. Had a friend send me something. That's a little preview for something that I'm working on. All right. Who's my favorite pony? My favorite of the main 6 is Pinky. My favorite of the all the main, like the quote-unquote main/side characters is Celestia, and my favorite OC is Milky Way. Okay, good question. If I put memes in a fic I write and super chat it here, would you click on the links of the story if you don't understand the reference? I mean, maybe. It depends. I would probably. I'm usually pretty good at knowing memes and whatnot, so I probably wouldn't click on them. But yes, If it is safe for work for me to click on them, I would. Yes. All right. Ooh, overtime and holiday pay. Hell yeah, boy. I remember when I was working night shift and I would work on holidays. I'd get time and a half for that. Went out for lunch with family. Nice. What the fuck was the Anon Voltron one? Oh, the Anon Voltron one. Let me get that here for you. That one was In Too Deep. Let me get that. It was chapter 2 of In Too Deep. There you go. Milky Way's voice actress. Oh yeah, that was Emogak. Before he did his transition. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, 60,000 Bs. If you write a story and then super chat it, I will read it. And then if you request me to click on the links if I don't understand the reference, then I will do so. Oh. Yeah, what the fuck was that? Yeah. Well, you know, it was, all things considered, it was standard fare for the normal stuff that I used to read back in the day on 4chan. All right. I think we're good to keep going here. So, I think what we'll do is... let's do this one. Okay. The next story on our list is going to be Digging Days by Ahum. Now, we've, Ahum is someone that we are quite familiar with on this channel, both as live narrations and for writing like actual audio plays. Their story, Socks, was one that I narrated years ago. Unfortunately, it did get taken down by YouTube, but it is what it is. All right. Digging Days by Ahum. Mrs. Cake? Pinky's digging a hole outside the shop. Thought you should know. Mrs. Cake sighs and shakes her head. Poor Mare. I remember my digging days. I felt like it would go on forever. You raise your eyebrows. So this is something ponies just do? The baker nods. There comes a time in a mare's life when you feel empty, like a shore without a sea. Digging a hole helps fill the space in your heart a little bit. And if some handsome stallion happens to climb in... You tilt your head. Huh, I think I get it. So, is there anything we can do for Pinky? Doesn't sound like a fun time. Mrs. Cake grins. Oh, nothing I can do, but I think she would love to hear how concerned you are about her. You roll your eyes. Subtle. Still, what kind of friend would I be if I left her alone like this? Mrs. Cake smiles fondly at you. You're a good colt, Anon. Never change. You stare down into the 6 feet deep hole. Pinky is swaying, her limp curls in her mane inflating and deflating. You glance around, but most ponies either ignore it or send pitying looks into the hole. You sigh, and then sit cross-legged at the edge. You all right, Ponks? She looks up at you with wide eyes. Nonners? I mean, yeah. Just wanted to see what the dirt was like, for party planning. You raise your eyebrows. That's some deep preparations. Pinkie Pie giggles, her mane inflating a bit more than usual. Yep, you have to plan the whole thing out in advance. You chuckle. Well, I don't want to dig too deep into your business. The party mare wiggles her hoof in a so-so gesture. Half points for using deep again. Any hoodles, what brings you to my dig doodles? You scratch your cheek. Mrs. Cake told me little about digging days. I don't entirely get it, but I figured you could use some company to keep your mind off things. Pinky beams at you. That's super-de-duper sweet, and I would know. You grin. Thanks, Ponks. Hey, I'm gonna go get some grub, then I'll be right back. Pinky wiggles happily. Good idea. I'll be right here, so come back quick. You can't help but get caught up in her cheerfulness. You get up with a grunt and start jogging towards the apple stall. You're going to need a decent amount of food. Oh shit, wait. Did I just hit 40 subs? Did I hit 40 subs while on stream? Holy shit! Holy shit. Look at this, guys. 1 second. Pausing on the story real quick. Let me get this over here. Channel dashboard. Boom! Look at that. 40,000. Hell yeah. Look at that. Look at that. All right. Good shit. Also, you can... Don't pay attention. Don't look at those numbers. Anyway. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for 40K. I'm probably not going to do anything special for it, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I'll figure out something. Anyway. Thank you for 40 subs. Let's get back into reading this cute little story with Anon and Pinky. My favorite my favorite of the main 6. All right. You get up with a grunt and start jogging towards the apple stall. You're going to need a decent amount of food, and it has to be cheap and able to drop a fair distance, so apples it is. Even though the mare can eat like Scooby-Doo, you suspect she just has a stomach of holding for oh, I get it. You suspect she just has a stomach of holding for desserts. When it comes to healthy foods, she just eats normal amounts. Baffling. Of course, after a few headaches, you follow the local wisdom and just stopped trying to figure out You stumble, skipping a bit to stop you from falling on your face. Look at what you did, Bloom! You nearly made Anon hurt himself! You turn around to find Applejack glare over the counter of her stall at a pothole. The pothole replies dejectedly, I'm sorry, Anon. I didn't mean to do you no harm. You look down to find Apple Bloom at the bottom of a 2-foot deep hole. Right. Is this that Digging Days thing again? Applejack rolls her eyes. No, it ain't. She just wanted to get some practice in. And she'll fill that hole right back in if she knows what's good for her. Apple Bloom clambers out of the hole, scrunching hard. I know. Do you really have to yell at me in front of a stallion? Applejack blinks, then tips her hat to you, her cheeks red with embarrassment. Begging your pardon, Anon. Sorry you had to hear all that. Can I get you anything? You smile and wave your hand dismissively. It's fine, I don't mind. I would like 24 apples, though. Applejack's hat rises in surprise. Well, that'll be 4 bits, but, I can't help but notice you forgot your saddlebags. How about Apple Bloom helps carry them to where you're going? You pay the mare and eye the pile of apples. That's not a bad idea. Let me just... You pull the hem of your shirt up and scoop about half of the apples into a makeshift sling. Applejack's eyes flicker from the lumpy dip in your shirt to your face. Maybe I should just carry them all myself. I'd hate to stretch out a colt's clothes like that for no good reason. You shake your head. Nah, don't worry about it. You still have a stall to run. Then you look down at your t-shirt and shrug. The damage is done, and Rarity will only try to kill me a little. Ready, Apple Bloom? The filly salutes. Yes, sir. The cargo is locked and loaded. You nod at her. Auto trots, roll out. Then you give Applejack a nod and smile as you set off. See you around, Applejack. She tips her hat. Be careful not to fall in some mare's hole, all right? You call over your shoulder. No promises. She just chuckles and waves. You can't help but watch Apple Bloom waddle along, her saddlebags almost dragging on the ground. You all right down there? She holds her head high and puffs out her little chest tuft. Ain't no need to worry about me. I'm a big, strong mare. Besides, I carry way more apples at a time back home. You adjust your shirt and move one of the apples closer to the middle of the pile. Really? How many can you handle? Apple Bloom chews on her lip. 14, I reckon. You let out a low whistle. That's a lot. Apple Bloom beams at you. You betcha. Granny says it won't be long before I can pull the whole wagon. You shake your head. You've tried pulling that wagon. It's pretty heavy. Then again, Earth ponies are considerably stronger than they look. They grow up so fast. Applebloom nods. Granny's been saying that too. As you approach Pinky's hole... Oh no, we're approaching Pinky's hole. You realize you don't have anything to put the apples on. Well, you could just brush off the dirt. Alright, just set them down with that hole, Applebloom. She blinks. Oh, okay. The filly trots over and peeks over the ledge. Hi, Pinkie Pie! You listen to them exchange pleasantries with half an ear as you set your load of apples down. Applebloom empties her saddlebags with practiced ease, then gives you a salute. Payload delivered, sir. You salute back. Payload received, Private. You are dismissed. And good luck with your practice. Applebloom blush. Applebloom blush. Fuck! Applebloom blushes. Thanks. I'll leave you two alone now. She gallops off, and you shake your head. You shrug and then sit down by the hole. Want an apple, Ponko? She wiggles her haunches. You betcha! Fire at will! You toss one down, and she leaps to bite it out of the air. You blink, and the whole thing is gone. Pinky spits out some seeds on it and the stem. Thanks! You honestly can't tell if she's very hungry or just rather pinky. Well, no problem. You want another? She hums in contemplation. Nah, I'm good for now. You nod. To be honest, you aren't really sure if you should ask about the digging thing. You have no idea how to deal with normal depression, let alone horse depression. You mean, her hole, it's just so big. You can't believe it's just so round. It's like it out there. You mean geometric. Look, it's just so deep. So... Oh, wait. So... You blink, pulled out of your reverie. Yes? Want to play I Spy? You look down at the cheerful mare, then the hole which cuts off most of her line of sight. Sure. Pinky rubs her hooves together in anticipation. Okie dokie. I spy with my all-seeing eye something brown. Surely it's not the obvious thing. Is it the shaft of the shovel? She giggles. Nope. Guess again. Is it dirt? She gasps. How did you know? You look at her with a deadpan expression. Psychic powers. Her eyes go wide. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, your turn. You look around. It's a fair bet that she knows the shops and landmarks around here. I spy something white. Pinky sits in a lotus position, her forehooves pressed against her temples. Clouds? Nope. My teeth? That's a negatory, pink friend. Sugar cube corner. Yep. Your turn. Her eyes dart around the hole. I spy with my third eye something cute. Your heart sinks. You just got tricked, backstabbed, or quite possibly bamboozled. Something Pinkie Pie finds cute. That could be anything. The shovel? Nuh-uh. The clouds? You play it. Oh. You play it. Pinky on the bottom, nope on top. You frown. Pinky did mention a third eye. Applebloom 5 minutes ago? The party mare giggles. No, silly, I can't see her right now. Well, that doesn't leave many possibilities. The dirt again? That'd be a good fake out. Huh. Too bad that's wrong. The sky? Nopers, nonners. You sigh. I give up. What is it? Pinky grins. It's you! You groan. I totally forgot about... Hold up. She's saying you're cute. You blush, a hand automatically covering your mouth. I spy something pink. The folks at immigration told you about this. They said the mares are clever and strike you without warning. You should have listened. That's not fair. Oh, some pony finally gotten the better of our favorite Jane filly. Oh, wait, no. That's... I was wondering why that sounded so weird in Pinky's voice. That's Rarity. Sorry. Oh ho! Has some pony finally gotten the better of our favorite Jane filly? You look to find Rarity trotting towards you with an amused smile. Pinky jumps up above the rim of the hole. Hi, Rarity! She falls back down, then jumps again. Isn't he the cutest? You purse your lips, not sure what kind of face you'll make. I am not cute. Rarity raises an eyebrow, wearing a smug smile. Truly, this is news to me, darling. At any rate, I thought I would drop by when I heard Pinky was digging, but I see you have the situation well in hoof, or hand, as it were. Pinky jumps again. Thanks, Jump. Appreciate it! Rarity seems about to leave, but you speak. Say, do all ponies have digging days? Unicorns and Pegasi too? Rarity flicks her tail. We do have something similar. Pegasi build nests out of colorful and shiny things. After Rainbow Dash raided my inspiration room, I just leave a box of scraps and gem shards outside. You smile. Oh, that's nice of you. What about unicorns, then? She examines her forehoof, her tail swishing back and forth in a way you recognize as embarrassment. We find the highest perch we can and consider our place in the universe. Pinkie Pie flops halfway onto the rim of the hole. I remember that. You were on top of Town Hall and we were like, Wah-ha-ha! Cower before me, unfabulous mortals! Rarity blushes. Yes, well, I really must get going. It was good to see you, Anon, and I'm glad you're feeling better, Pinky. Pinky wiggles her forehooves. Bye-bye, dark mistress of fashion. You pat Rarity's withers. It's too late for me. Flee while you still can. She shakes her head. If you two had a colt, he would rival Discord for whimsy. Good luck, darlings! Rarity vanishes in a burst of sparkles and high-class laughter. You roll your eyes. Like she's one to talk about whimsy. Right, Pankope? Right. You look down to see Pinky blushing like a tomato, slowly sliding back into the hole. You poke her cheek. You all right there? She squeaks, flails, then falls down with a thump. Oh, crap! You hurriedly drop down after her. Pinky winces, rubbing her flank. Good thing I got so much cushion in my tushin. She laughs a little shakily. You frown in concern. Should I go get a doctor or something? She gets to her hooves, wincing. Nah, I think my fruity patootie is just bruised. Wanna kiss it better? You roll your eyes. It certainly sounds like you'll be fine. Pinky grins. Worth a try! She almost goes to sit down again, then winces. You frown, sitting cross-legged and patting your lap. Come here, lay down. It's better than the dirt. Love him whenever in stories that they acknowledge that she's got a plush booty anyway. She blushes lightly and trots over. It takes her a little to get comfortable, rolling onto her back and wiggling a bit. The mare is kinda heavy and warm, but it's not so bad. You automatically start rubbing her belly and she positively melts. That better? Pinkapo hums in contentment. Yeah, that's the stuff. For your part, you still can't get over how soft and smooth their fur is. You lose track of time, just petting her fur and watching her twitch a leg from time to time. It's comfortable in the shade of the hole wall, listening to the murmur of passing ponies going about their day. Eventually, your arm gets tired, and you just rest your hand on her soft tummy. Nani? Yeah, Pinky? Her stomach growls. I could go for another apple right now. You nod seriously, only smiling a little bit. So I hear. But you'll have to get off my lap if you want me to get you one. She pouts. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, Nani! If I leave your lap now, I might never get to get your sweet, sweet belly rubs again! You hum in contemplation. Well, that is a pretty difficult problem there, Ponks. What if, now, hear me out, we eat some food, then I sit down and you lay in my lap and belly rubs happen again. She squints at you, rubbing her chin. That just might work! You chuckle. It's crazy, I know. But I think we can pull it off. Princessa Piana rolls onto her hooves, bouncing in place as you get to your feet. You stare up at the rim of the hole, just high enough that you will have some trouble getting up. In retrospect, I should have brought a ladder or something. Pinky puffs out her chest tuft. We don't need a ladder. You've got me. You blink. Oh, that's true. I'll just... She jumps completely out of the hole, then turns around and reaches out a foreleg to you. Grab on, I guess. Yuppers. You reach up and put one hand on the rim and hold down to her foreleg with the other. 1, 2, 3. Pinky Pie hauls you up with a grunt, and you actually catch some air before you land on your feet. You shake your head in awe. Dang, girl, you're freakish. You're freaking strong. She grins. You betcha. Ain't no mare like an Earth Pony Party mare. You dust off your pants, I'll say. You bend down, pick up an apple, and dust it off on your shirt. Thanks, Pinky. You toss it to her. She snaps it out of the air, caught between her teeth. You're welcome, Nani. You chuckle and start cleaning off an apple of your own. Between the two of you, you manage to finish off about a third of what you brought. That's 8 apples, dude. That's like... How much cyanide is that? Holy shit. Jesus. Yeah, that's like 8 apples. Because he got 2 dozen, right? And then, yeah, about a third. Jesus. All right. Pinky licks the apple juice off her lips. Oh, excuse me. You crack your neck. Well, shall we go back down, Pinky? She tilts her head, tail twitching a little. I don't think so. I'm not feeling holy moly anymore. You smile. Well, I'm glad to hear it. What are you going to do now? She chews on her lip, blushing slightly. Well, I might have to do some special preparations, depending. You start picking up the apples. Oh? Depending on what? Pinkie Pie takes a deep breath, then looks you straight in the eye. If you would like to go on a date with me. You blink in surprise. Not even sure what to think. But you feel a warmth in your chest that tells you all you need to know. Yeah, Pinky. I think I would like that. Her eyes go wide and her mane inflates almost to the breaking point. Really? You smile, feeling your face warm up. Yeah, really. You're a fun mare, and I like hanging out with you. Pinky grins, vibrating in place. Oh my gosh, this is really happening. Okay, well, I gotta get everything ready, so I gotta go and do that, and you boop her nose. Just let me know when you're picking me up, okay? She comes to a stop and takes a deep breath. Be ready by 8, and bring a rubber chicken. You nod. 8 and a rubber chicken. Got it. She squeals happily and disappears into a puff of smoke. You shake your head at her antics, a smile still stuck on your face. You turn to look at the hole, but it's mysteriously filled in. When? You had your eye on her the entire time. Maybe she wasn't vibrating and you were only seeing her after image? No. No use trying to figure it out. Anyways, you have a rubber chicken to buy and a date to go on. You pick up the rest of the apples and set off, a vibrant warmth lingering in your chest long after you get back home. The end. That's a cute little story. I like that one. That was very cute. That is Digging Days by Ahum once more. So that's going to be... Boom. Right there. Right there. I'm going to try and be better about linking the story before I start reading it, I think. Because that'll be... I think that's going to be better in the long run. But, yeah. Alright. Let's see here. Let's see. We'll do this one. Yeah. Yeah, it was very adorable. Let's do this one. Alright. So we'll do this one, and then we'll do the story request from Lightning Burn, and then we got 2 more stories after that. So I think we'll be good on that front. Cute and a hole got filled. There you go. Perfect story. Perfect story there. All right. Let's see here. Oh, right. Okay. Let's see here. What are your future plans? Well, right now, I've got 4 stories in the queue right now. If anyone would like to request more, they can. And we'll keep going here, and I'll stagger them in between the stories that remain. And yeah. All right. After that, I've got the second half of that Low Punny comic dub that I'm going to be posting next week, or next weekend rather. Oh, have a good evening, Ariel. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to tune in for the first time, and hope you tune in for more of them. I'm going to plan on doing these every 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weekends, and usually I do them on Friday. So, this one was a bit of an exception because I had some IRL stuff that I had to take care of. But yeah. So, let's get running with this next story, which is called Twilight Sparkle's Addiction by Zlaggy. Twilight Sparkle and hard drugs. Here we go. Let's enjoy this shitpost. The golden door opened, leading a certain purple princess into the royal bedroom. She is the princess of friendship, the goddess of magic, and said goddess was late. I'm so sorry for being late. I was stuck in the middle of something and I didn't notice the time. I rushed here as fast as I could. The purple princess' head hung low. She hated being late for something, especially if it included her former teacher. It's quite all right, Twilight. You're only 2 minutes late. Celestia's smile remained on her face, but she did note that it was quite unlike Twilight to be even a minute late. This was one more action that was added to the pile of growing worries in her mind. If an outsider would look into the situation, they wouldn't see anything amiss. A few minutes late here and there. Maybe even a paper that was submitted half a day too late. But this was Twilight, the same mare who had nearly gone insane trying to find a friendship problem to solve, just so she could send a report on it and not appear as tardy. Not to mention the frazzled state of her hair. It was practically a bird's nest. If Celestia didn't know Twilight, she would have thought that she just got out of bed. Please, have a seat. Well, she took a sip of her afternoon tea. Celestia's horn glowed and the chair opposite her was pulled back, giving Twilight a seat to rest on. Twilight barely had time to sit before Celestia spoke. So, how have you been doing these past few weeks? I believe you've had a lot on your plate with looking after Anon. Twilight chuckled as she magically picked up the white teacup in front of her and poured some tea from the matching teapot. You have no idea. I've been up practically 3 whole days just studying him, and there's still so much to learn. Celestia could see the twinkle in her eyes as she continued to list off the many different things she found out about the alien roommate that she picked up. A small smile spread on her lips as she continued to listen to her former student gush about her latest findings. Pleasant memories filled her mind, taking her years back towards the days where she was teaching the young unicorn filly. She was glad that the same excitement towards learning still persisted close to her heart. A small part of her still saw Twilight as that young filly, always eager to learn, always hanging on every word she said, as if any word she might say always had profound knowledge behind it. It felt like years could pass, but the young alicorn would always stay the same small filly she had met all those years ago. It feels like a drug. It took every bit of restraint to not spit all of her tea on her fellow alicorn. She brought a hoof to her mouth, her cheeks slightly expanding at the pressure. A small droplet of tea leaked through and stained the underside of her pristine white hoof. Celestia? A look of worry replaced the foolish excitement that was on her face. Are you okay? Celestia eventually gained control once more as she swallowed her tea. She then cleared her throat and set the teacup down upon her fancy table. Yes, everything is fine. She wasn't even sure if she heard her former student right. I'm sorry, I must have misheard. What feels like a drug? The worried-filled face of Twilight was replaced with a huge smile. Celestia was sure that she might have seen a different kind of twinkle appear in her eyes. Scritches, she stated, as if she expected her to know what those were. Celestia's eyes narrowed slightly. What are scritches? Oh, it's when Anon. She paused mid-sentence and a thoughtful look crossed her face. I'm actually not quite sure what he does. My mind just kind of shuts down just as he gives them to me. Twilight shrugged. Celestia shivered. Something that could shut down a pony's mind? That sounded an awful lot like some sort of drug. Not to mention, Twilight literally said it also felt like one. An abnormally serious look crossed Celestia's face. Twilight, is he giving you drugs? Twilight's eyes widened in a mixture of fear and confusion. What? No, he's not giving me any drugs. Twilight physically recoiled as she practically screamed. Then a deep blush overcame her cheeks as she looked over the balcony railing to see if any pony had heard her. Thankfully, the royal garden was currently empty. With that kind of reaction, it's hard to think otherwise, Celestia thought, a sigh escaping her lips. The air around them both was getting a bit tense, something that Celestia had experienced too much in the recent days. This was her one day off per month, and she really didn't want to ruin it. She could even feel a slight headache coming along. So, what have the rest of your friends been up to? She switched the conversation topic to something more pleasant. The rest of their monthly afternoon tea passed relatively quickly. They talked about many subjects, but the first topic stayed in the princess's mind, well after Twilight had left for Ponyville. Was Twilight doing drugs? She sure hoped not. The answer she gave her really didn't help ease her mind of the matter either. Would she really be able to fall from grace in such a manner? That's it. She wouldn't stay stuck thinking about this. It would get her nowhere. I might need to give Twilight a surprise visit, Celestia mumbled before she opened the door to her room and informed the guards stationed outside that she was not to be disturbed for the rest of the day. The golden door closed and locked behind her. Then, with a flash of golden light, Princess Celestia vanished from her room. The crystal walls of Twilight Sparkle's castle were the first things to greet her eyes as she opened them after her teleportation. The sounds of hooves impacting crystal echoed out in the relatively empty hallway. Celestia's horn was surrounded by a golden glow as she cast a spell, and she turned her head to the right as the information she was looking for entered her brain. Her pace quickened. Her destination was the library section of Twilight's castle. Spotting the door slightly ajar, she took a quick peek inside. Her ears both turned towards the two occupants in the room. She could see Anon hunched over, his back towards the door. His arms seemed to be occupied with something. Celestia's brow furrowed as she saw something purple poking out from behind the human. Her eyes widened in realization. That was Twilight. A chuckle emanated from the human. You're addicted. Celestia's heart seemed to skip a beat at the hearing Anon's words. Twilight Sparkle. From a high-achieving unicorn, then alicorn, now reduced to a drug addict? From the angle she was looking at, it looked like Twilight was laying on the floor while Anon was hunched over her, most likely doing something illegal like feeding drugs to her. Celestia felt her heart start pounding in her chest. She wasn't going to stand for this. She will put an end to this vile act. Right this instant. Celestia practically jumped into the room. Actually, you know what? I'm going to drop this story right here so you can read it alongside me, because I forgot to do that. I need to get better at doing that. Celestia practically jumped into the room, the door loudly impacting the crystal wall, announcing her presence to the two other occupants. Holy shit! Anon couldn't even finish his surprised exclamation before Celestia's voice cut him off. Get away from her, you! Her voice slowly got smaller until it was completely cut off. She wasn't sure what the two of them were doing, but it didn't look like he was giving drugs to Twilight. Anon lifted both of his hands off the purple mare. He would have stood up if not for the weight of the certain alicorn of friendship laying on his lap. Said alicorn was seemingly lost in a completely different world. It took a few seconds for her to realize that Anon's hands weren't on her head anymore. This isn't... who cares? It's exactly what it looks like. Anon tried to explain himself before he gave up. Celestia wasn't exactly sure what it was they were doing. What does it look like? Her eyebrow raised in a questioning manner. Pets and scritches, Anon replied, his voice devoid of emotion. I surrender. Take me to jail. What? Why would I do that? Celestia was puzzled. Aren't pets and scritches illegal or something? That's what Twilight said. He pointed at the smaller princess in his lap, who was slightly rubbing her eyes. Then suddenly the purple princess jumped off of Anon and bowed low at the taller mare. I'm so sorry, Celestia. I didn't know scritches were illegal. Please don't banish me. Celestia's questioning look remained. She didn't know anything about what they were talking about. Could some pony please tell me what these scritches are? How are scritches and pats illegal if you don't know what they are? Anon's arms fell back into his lap. No, to my knowledge, they aren't. Where did you get that idea? Celestia's gaze landed on the purple princess that was still slightly shaking. Well, you asked if Anon was giving me drugs when I talked about scritches the other day, or earlier today. And drugs are obviously illegal. Well, except if it's medicine. But I didn't know scritches were drugs. Celestia then responded with a simple hum of acknowledgement. What? Anon simply could not understand the logic behind that. Was that why you were all panicked when you came back? Twilight responded with a sheepish smile as a deep blush overcame her. You do realize that scritches aren't drugs, right? Twilight gave him a what? You do realize that scritches aren't drugs, right? Twilight gave him a sheepish smile and a shrug. A sheepish smile and a shrug. Oh my fucking god. I hate... Pausing real quick right before the end. I hate that phrase. A sheepish smile and a shrug. Do you know how fucking difficult it is to make 3 SH sounds, but also keep it not just a sheepish. It is very, very hard to keep that enunciated. Anyway, Anon sighed and facepalmed. Celestia remembered that her mind drifted during that topic of conversation. It could be that she might have misheard her and had jumped the gun, as Anon had once said. Celestia's pose visibly relaxed, as she realized that Twilight was, in fact, not doing any kind of drugs. But now she was interested in these scritches that both Anon and Twilight had been talking about the whole day. Celestia cleared her throat. I might have misheard you the other day, or I might have misheard you earlier today, which led me to overreact. I'm sorry about that. Anon wiped his forehead with the back of his hand as his body visibly relaxed. I'm glad that was just a misunderstanding. He then leaned a bit forward, so his head was next to Twilight's. So, Anon rubbed his hands together. Does your mom want scritches too? Twilight froze. Her head slowly turned to look at Anon. What? Was it something I said? A clueless smile spread on Anon's lips. The end. That's a funny little something. So that was Twilight Sparkle's Addiction by Zlagi. That was a cute little something. Yeah, exactly. It's it's not even that it's a tongue twister. It's quite literally that it's just very, very hard to enunciate, because the action, like the action of making the sh sound, it starts like at your you have to purse your lips to make the sh sound. And if you're already like pursing your lips for a sh sound, shush. You have to purse your lips, bring it back to neutral, and then purse them again. And it is very difficult to do that when you are narrating. And to do it again in a repeated motion. So a sheepish smile and a shrug. If you do that very slowly, you can see what the what that actually feels like mechanically with your mouth, and it is very hard to do that. Okay. All right. So he got both the hot daughter and the hot mom addicted. Hell yeah, king behavior. All right. Oh. But yeah, it's Oh, that's actually a Russian tongue twister. Shla Sasha Porsche Ishla Sosala Sushki. I probably butchered the fuck out of that, but let me try this. Okay. Shla Sasha Porsche I Sosala Sushki. I don't know what that means. I hope it's not. I hope it's nothing bad. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's. Oh man. Okay. Well. It better not be anything bad. Anyway. Okay. So we have 3 more stories left before we get back into it, or before we finish up for the night. But okay. And she sucked a bagel. Okay. Oh man, all right. Okay. Okay, so the next story is going to be SCP-2669, The Thing. Oh shit, this is Thing Pwn. Hell yeah. All right. This is The Thing by one of 3 names. So we're gonna send that. And we're gonna get that open. SCP-2669. Okay. SCP-2669. Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Samples of SCP-2669 are to be kept frozen and contained within sealed heat and acid-warded alloy crates. These crates are to be kept inside a standard insulated containment chamber that has been fitted with an internal refrigeration equipment to keep the crates and chamber temperature no higher than -25 degrees Celsius. This temperature is to be maintained by no less than 3 redundant cooling units. If at any time the temperature in the containment chamber climbs above 18 degrees Celsius, site-wide emergency quarantine countermeasures will be activated. The containment chamber must be, at minimum, equipped with at least 2 acid-warded security airlocks, with a quarantine containment chamber between. The quarantine chamber is to be fit with an incineration failsafe system for use in incapacitating instances of SCP-2669-1 or those those infected with SCP-2669 during an attempted breach event. Once every week, an agent adhering to Class A biohazard protocols must enter the containment chamber to inspect the crates and refrigeration units for damage or flaws. See Incident 2669-C. At no other time is anyone permitted to enter the quarantine or main containment chamber without O5 authorization. Personnel leaving containment must remain in quarantine for a minimum of 36 hours and subject to periodic biohazard screening and standard DNA testing protocols, followed by decontamination before exiting the quarantine chamber. Failure of any one of these tests is an indicator of exposure to SCP-2669 and is grounds for immediate activation of the incineration failsafe. Authorization for further testing must be approved by no less than 2/3 of an O5 Council vote or a 001 Emergency Council override. Description: SCP-2669 is an extremely virulent cellular organism believed to be extraterrestrial in origin. SCP-2669 is able to perfectly assimilate and imitate any cell that it comes into contact with, analyzing its genetic data and storing its form and function for later recall. This ability makes it capable of covertly spreading through living tissue, eventually assimilating an infested organism entirely into disguised copies of itself without outward signs of infection. SCP-2669 is not restricted to imitating a single type of cell and may freely rewrite its biology to become an identical copy of any cell it possesses memory of. This method... Oh no! Stutter! Channel ruined! Reputation gone! Shit! The method SCP-2669 uses to collect and store this information is unknown. SCP-2669 instinctively seek each other out and form colonies, clumping together and eventually becoming a multicellular organism, hereby referred to as SCP-2669-1. SCP-2669-1 forms a collective intelligence among its cells through a method believed to be similar to the way brain cells form a neural network, pooling its collected information and growing in cognitive ability the more cells are connected in this manner. SCP-2669-1 cells share their genetic memories with each other, and a genome known to a single cell becomes known to all cells connected in this way. It is unknown how much of an organism SCP-2669-1 must assimilate before it acquires a complete genome, but an analysis of SCP-2669-1's behavior suggests a small sample is not sufficient. After assimilation of a victim's brain, SCP-2669-1 will often retain the organism's original brain pattern for camouflage and infiltration purposes. Keeping a mind intact in this way allows SCP-2669-1 allows it to access the victim's memories and instincts, as well as mimic the individual personality perfectly. Field observation has shown that SCP-2669-1 can recall the memories of any organism it has previously assimilated, no matter its current form. SCP-2669-1 is not restricted to mimicking a single species at a time, and has been observed combining many aspects of radically different species, freely molding its body to suit the situation or its whim. SCP-2669-1 has also demonstrated numerous other anomalous shape-shifting abilities, including turning into a near-liquid state, generating an infectious digestive fluid, merging with other instances of SCP-2669-1, splitting into multiple smaller instances of SCP-2669-1, raising or lowering its body temperature, and spontaneously generating new orifices and limbs. One notable incident observed several large SCP-2669-1 fusing together into one massive predatory organism, which proceeded to data expunged. Inflicting damage to SCP-2669-1 can interrupt its bodily functions, temporarily forcing it into a dormant state while it repairs itself. The only confirmed method of ensuring termination is the extermination of all SCP-2669 cells. SCP-2669-1 seems to prefer covert methods of assimilation, but will usually react violently to its true nature being exposed. Field agent accounts of encounters with SCP-2669-1 are inconsistent, with some reporting instances of SCP-2669-1 to be surprisingly docile, while other reports depict them being extremely aggressive. This suggests some manner of individuality between separate instances. Addendum 2669-A. Audio transcript of Incident 2669-A declassified. Addendum 2669-B. Containment procedures updated as of 4/6/9/999. Full specimens reduced to small samples. Additional redundant cooling system added. Additional securities camera added to containment chamber. Addendum-C. Incident 2669-C video transcript. Addendum 2669-D. Note from Dr. Blank. Ooh. Anyone here scientist, OC? All right. Because of SCP-2669's ability to covertly consume entire town populations in mere hours, its propensity to survive even the most extreme sterilization methods and subsequent artificial winters, and its habit of assimilating itself into the power structures of any organization it sees as a threat. I think it's safe to say the reason SCP-2669 hasn't already assimilated every living thing is because it chooses not to. I know that's a terrifying idea, but the evidence we've gathered about just how ridiculously advanced and efficient this organism is overwhelming. We can't even scratch the outside layers of understanding this thing's biology. Half of the outbreaks we've contained have only been discovered because one of the entities deliberately revealed itself. I don't even know why it's been so easy on us so far, but let's hope its charitable mood continues. An interesting theory, Dr. Blank. One warranting investigation for insight into possible limitations to SCP-2669's spread. However, please refrain from making additional unsubstantiated assertions in the future. 05-blank. Addendum 2669-E. Containment procedures updated as of 1/44/2. All ongoing tests are terminated. Further tests must be authorized by 2/3 of an 05 council vote. Addendum 2669-F. Containment procedures updated as of 1/13. Surveillance cameras removed from containment and quarantine chambers. Incident 2669-A. 2/23/999. Initial retrieval. See Incident Field Report. Incident 2669-B. Blank 999. Outbreak confirmed in blank individuals confirmed assimilated. Breach neutralization uncertain. -C. 4/67/999. SCP-2669 attempts to breach containment. See video transcript of incident. 2669-D. 1/15/1. Positive test result in Ponyville. One individual confirmed assimilated. Breach contained. -E. 2/38/1. Outbreak confirmed in Canterlot. 5 individuals confirmed assimilated. Breach neutralized. F. 1. Outbreak confirmed in blank individuals confirmed assimilated. Breach neutralization uncertain. -G. 1/2/2. Positive test result in Cloudsdale. 1 individual confirmed assimilated. Breach neutralized. Incident -H. 2. Redacted. Incident I. 2. Outbreak confirmed in blank individuals redacted. -J. 3/89/2. Outbreak confirmed in Crystal Empire. 9 individuals confirmed assimilated. Breach neutralized. -K. 3. Redacted. Interesting. Okay. Dun. Yeah, exactly. It's very interesting. Okay. No, please, I'm with the science team. Ah! All right. So, that's a very interesting story. Very interesting premise too. I know that thingpone is a thing in stories and shit. So, could be be something interesting to look into further if you're interested in continuing reading that story. So what we're going to do real quick, I'm just going to go for a quick pee break, and we're going to knock out one. You feel free to make any story requests while I am away, and we will be right back to finish up these last couple of stories for the night. So, see you in a bit. All right, and we are back. Hello, everyone. Hope you had a good pee break. Did you did you actually pee, or were you just sitting here waiting this entire time? Anyway, we have we have a couple more stories left, and we'll get right into it here. It was good, man. It's good. Right. Yeah, it took a while to pee, but, I also take that time to sort of rest my chops, as it were. Did not mean to do that. Okay. I take that time to sort of rest my chops to let me get through the last couple of stories without just petering out at the end. I don't want to do that. All right. Anyway. All right. So this next one is little something called Knock on Crystal by Maple Syrup Tree. Anon's tired of how annoying Equestria could be. Thankfully, there's a funny cave he likes to hide in. How does a tree grow underground? All right. So, we'll get this here. Send that over. How does a tree grow underground? Lying at the bottom of a ravine is the local and only human in Equestria. Anon makes his way towards the nearby cave, a safe getaway from the constant nagging of both Twilight and the kids. Curious little bastards never leave him alone. Especially that orange dragon, yapping about how the cool big guy is her friend. Annoying rats. Not that he'd ever say that to their faces. He's not that much of an asshole yet to beat up kids, but it does grate his nerves. His solace comes in the form of a massive crystalline structure within the cave itself, formed from God knows what. He found this place a few weeks back, wandering the forest like that no pony would dare enter. Down the weirdly carved out stairs of the ravine was the entrance, as well as the massive tree with the symbols of the 6 big mares. He sits at the base, watching the roots tangle around his ankles as a makeshift seat appears under him. What's up, Harm? The Tree of Harmony was somewhat of a surprise to him. When it first grabbed him weeks prior, he nearly pissed himself with how badly it tried to shove him out of her cave. Eventually it stopped, since he kept on coming back. Since then, he's grown fond of the tree. Really fond. Too fond. Disgustingly so. This tree's a good listener. The roots tighten on his skin. Harmony! The root slackens. Won't abbreviate... Harmony! The root slackens. Won't abbreviate again. Until next time. He relaxes, leaning his head back and enjoying the quiet ambiance. Outside, the woodland sounds bounce inside, causing a deep echo within the cave. Eerie, yet serene. He lets out a quiet hum, the tree's branches swaying to the tones, until the sound of distant hoof-falls become audible. Already here, huh? He belts out a frustrated groan, stretching his arms. Anon! He already knows who it is without needing the shrill voice accompanying it. Anon, are you in there? Yes, a simple reply. Oh, my Celestia, thank goodness you're okay. Twilight Sparkle herself runs in, panting as if she had run a marathon. His brow raises suspiciously, wondering what's got her in a tizzy. We thought you had died. That's dumb. Why would I be dead? Because... She sputters, finally ceasing her spouting nonsense to take a deep breath. The Tree of Harmony is, She twirls her hoof in a circular motion. An arbiter of balance, she frowns. That's a gross simplification, but you know what I mean. She points to him. You're not normal, Anon. Dick move, Twilight. He frowns, matching hers. I'm perfectly normal to my standards. Your standards aren't from Equestria. She clears her throat. The possibility of the Tree of Harmony keeping you close only to eradicate you to keep balance is very high. That's pretty cynical for a pony. Harmony wouldn't hurt me. He watches as Twilight's frustration starts to boil. The telltale signs of an agitated tail lets him smirk in satisfaction. You might have hurt me more than Harmony, with how often you drag me through your school, experiment with my nature, etc. She stomps a hoof, turning around rapidly. Me and the girls will check up on you tomorrow. If you're back here by then, we're dragging you out for your safety. Ever since you became a teacher, you had a stick up your ass, he shouts as she trots away angrily. Maybe if you did have a stick up there, you'd at least be more carefree. Gross! She hurriedly takes off with her wings, not wanting to hear more of Anon for the time being. I'm in the right here, right? She is right. If she wished... She is right. If we wished to eradicate you, we could. There's the weird voice he knows. Stiff, unpracticed, but well-meaning. Well-meaning if it isn't talking about obliterating him. But you wouldn't. He smiles, feeling the roots wrap on his chest. Somehow they manage to be warm, comforting him. I know you don't want me in Equestria. You've said it plenty. But you're stuck with me. You're all about peace and whatnot. So you're going to... Oh, shit. So you'd be going against your nature to hurt me, I think. You think correctly. I would never bring harm upon you. I can merely encourage you to find a way out of this world as quickly as possible. The voice resounds in his head. The crystals touching him glow as a light purple as it speaks. He laughs loudly, tossing his head back and wiping a tear of joy from his eye. So what? You're telling me to kill myself? Get in line. Others back on Earth have been saying it for years. Earth has never sounded like a nice place. Please. Compared to the happy la-la land you have here, Earth is abysmal. He watches as a certain sparkle appears in the corner of his eye. The makeshift seat under him expands into a bench, watching a glittering ghost of Twilight appear. Usually, you'd spend the rest of your life with the ones you love. He leans his head a little closer. If Twilight does manage to get a way back, why not spend my last days here with you? Even if it's not my last day, I get to spend time with you anyways. It's a win-win. Why is it that you see me when our roots touch you? He's a bit miffed that his spiel went ignored. Well, I want to see you. I am flattered. The tree suddenly lets go of his ankles and chest. Harmony, the ghost, turns to him with a hoof raised. May we have a dance? A dance? Really? He raises an eyebrow. The tree's never asked him for something, let alone a dance. It hits him now that the tree was flattered. Flattered? If we are to date, then I have many things I wish to do. Oh, so now we're dating. His smile reaches shit-eating levels, grabbing the hoof and giving it a kiss. He's always surprised at how the ghost feels, managing to feel soft despite having no body. Yes, dating. I am finally reciprocating the feelings you've thrown at me for the past weeks. Finally! He furrows his brow again. Wait, you have feelings? I can feel anger. Do you wish to find out? He flinches at how easily she's willing to speak threats. No. Then dance. Twilight and her intervention posse arrived at the cave's entrance. Just around the corner, she knows Anon is in there. He wasn't at the meeting, nor was he there when she was going to try and see if she could pinpoint his origins. All right, girls. Are you ready to pry him away from the tree? Fluttershy quietly murmurs. If the tree is keeping him here, maybe we should, let him be? Applejack turns to the yellow mare, speaking low enough to keep her from panicking. Now ain't the time for mucking about, Fluttershy. Our friend could be in danger. Starlight Glimmer, who insisted on coming, interrupts. Is he really your friend? The glares from the other six cause her to lock up. I barely see him with you guys. I don't even remember when he visited Twilight. There was slight confusion amongst the group. Does he even want to go home? Well, we can ask him once we get him away from the tree. The rest nod in unison, all of them turning to the corner to find Anon. They did find him. They really wished there was a locked door. Within was Anon and the manifestation of the tree. Twilight's jaw dropped to the floor as they were in an intimate embrace. The snout open against the human's lips. There was tongue. Oh my Celestia, there was tongue. Twilight wants to tear her eyes away. It's as if she's watching herself with him. Harmony opens its eyes, looking at the group, and winks. They saw one of the roots glow purple, Anon making a low grunt as his hand moved lower. Even Tyrek didn't make her scream as loud as she did. The end. Oh my gosh. And that was Knock on Crystal.
I'm bored. What are we doing?
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
Hey, we're going into the last story of the night.
Oh, the last story.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Unless some.
Ooh.
But yeah, that was the the previous story was called Knock on Crystal. It was Anon X Tree of and it was Anon X Tree of Harmony.
Don't stick your dick in that. What?
Yeah. he in fact did almost bang a tree.
What a wood knocker, am I right?
What a wood knock.
Or a woodpecker! Yes, same brain, same brain.
Oh, same, sharing the same brain cell.
So good.
Oh my gosh. All right. How's it going?
Oh, it's good, it's good.
All right.
It's good. So what's the last story?
So this last story is called Pale Imitation, and it's an Anon and Tempest Shadow story. It's a sad slice of life story.
It's a sad one.
It's a sad
Why would
one.
you end it on a sad one?
Because I hate my audience, and I want them to suffer. I'm kidding.
No, he's not.
Okay.
So, Tempest Shadow, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna be Tempest Shadow?
I voiced
You're
every.
gonna be like,
Oh yes, Anon, right there. That is the spot. Yes.
is that you the entire time? Or it's more like, oh yeah, no, that's the ticket, yeah.
Well. No. We're not doing that.
Oh.
Empty plot filler. It would have to be under 10K. I have a policy that I don't take anything above 10K, not just because of the money part, but also just because it takes a long time to read through a 10K plus story. So yeah, I can do that chapter if you like. You can do that. Temptingest shadow.
Temptingest Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Be tempted by my shadow. Yeah. Gimme. Gimme your bits.
Give me those bits.
Gimme those bits.
So do you want me to play Tempest Shadow or what?
Would you like to play Tempest Shadow?
Yeah, especially if it's the last story of the night. We can end it on a bang!
All right.
On a very sad bang.
Well, I wonder if EPF is going to be doing a donation. But yeah, you can do Tempest Shadow.
Okay, let me just get a chair in here so I can sit down instead of leaning over.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so you go ahead and get that all set up here. Oh. Okay. All right. So 10K. Go ahead and send it. Either. Actually, yeah. Just send it either in comments or on Discord, and I'll be able to add that. Yep. You can just drop the link to me on Discord. Should be fine.
I'm back.
Hee-haw.
I'll just be in here. Do Tempest Shadow, and then I'll be.
All right, sounds good. Okay. So this is a sad story.
Oh, fuck.
So, okay.
Okay, bring on the sand.
All right, so this is...
Double the moist.
Double the moist.
Double the moist.
Double the moist.
Okay.
All right, so this is Pale Imitation by Drowned Owl. This will be the story we do next, and then we'll do Empty Plot Fillers story, and then that'll be the stream. All right, so Pale Imitation by Drowned Owl. There's something to be said about prosthetics. Most of them are terrible. They're cumbersome, expensive paperweights that never do anything that their user needs in order to feel normal again. A pale imitation.
I said the thing!
Pale imitation.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that while better than nothing, serves as a constant reminder of what you lost. He hated them, but that's only most prosthetics. In his home world, that would have included all of them, even the most advanced ones. But here on Equus, in a land where magic is just as real as gravity, things are different. In some ways worse, but in others better, and he worked tirelessly to make it better still. Anon finished screwing the pastel blue hoof onto the filly's stump, right below her withers. The parents, a scowling turquoise stallion, stood behind him, and his partner, a worried white unicorn, sat off to the side, had been very hesitant in agreeing with the operation. Osseointegration sounded very scary on paper, with what it requiring the installation of a metal rod into the leg bone, but after going through the benefits, they eventually yielded. Though that might have had something to do with the pleading look their baby blue daughter sent them. Part of that fear was understandable. For a race that rarely, if ever, had to resort to surgery, the idea of having your daughter cut open by a stranger would be terrifying. But magic couldn't fix everything, and with how reliant Ponykind was on the stuff, they were severely behind when it came to the technology side of things. Pony-made prosthetics were barely any better than medieval-era ones, with rudimentary control and piss-poor dexterity, even with magic filling in the gaps for any missing joints. They would lag behind a user's wishes, provide no sensation, and ultimately fail to feel like an extension of the body. So yes, Anon could understand why their daughter hadn't been happy with them. All right, go ahead and give it a go. There might be a bit of pain when you first put your weight on it, but it should subside quickly, he explained, scooting back from the bed. The enchantments running along the metal bar in her leg would ensure of that, once they activated and started feeding off the mare's natural magic reserves. Anon watched as she hesitantly leaned off the bed and pressed the newly attached foreleg onto the ground. The limb was clearly artificial, what with none of the fur coating her real legs, but besides that and the openings where joints were housed, it was relatively inconspicuous. She winced, of course, but once the pain faded, her expression quickly shifted into the look of wonder.
I can feel it.
She exclaimed. Standing from the bed, she began stamping the leg up and down, her smile growing with each passing second. She giggled, hopping excitedly in place with a rhythmic clop, clop, clop. Even he cracked a smile at that. That would be because it's connected to the bone of your leg. The force of it hitting the ground is traveling up the limb and into your body, so it feels more natural than a regular prosthetic. He stopped as he felt the filly wrapped tightly around his leg. She buried her face into his pants, staining them with tears. She looked up at him with a hiccuping, watery smile.
Thank you, Mr. Anon.
The girl's parents smiled in relief. The wife looked at him.
We can't thank you enough, Doctor. We haven't seen her this happy in I don't even know how long.
She said. The stallion next to her nodded mutely, not looking away from his daughter. Anon hesitantly patted the filly's head as he responded, "You're quite welcome. I'll say that with how much you two have paid, I don't really think a thanks is necessary." Their initial offer had been, quite frankly, ludicrous, the kind of money that would see him richer than most nearby towns. It had taken some time to talk them down to a more reasonable sum, but even then it was still far more than he was comfortable taking. The mayor snorted in amusement. No. We'll tip us this later. This is just a regular mayor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The mayor snorted in amusement.
No amount of bits is worth more than our daughter's happiness. You gave her that, and a thanks is the least we can give.
From there, the two unicorns gently coaxed their daughter into letting him go, after which he walked them back to his living room. Seating themselves, minus one giddy filly, Anon explained how to take care of the prosthetic. Simple stuff like taking it off before bed, cleaning it, examining it for damage, etc. He also showed her how to extend it, so that as she grew, she could continue to comfortably use it. Then, he handed them a repair guide and a few other documents, all handwritten. Printers were unfortunately beyond him. The wife went through them silently with an ease that spoke of familiarity with the paperwork. Her eyes widened as she examined the last few pages, however.
Are these blueprints?
Anon nodded. Yes. In the event that it's damaged beyond repair, I felt it prudent to include them so that you can have another made back home. They were, of course, free to come to him for another, but there was a chance he wouldn't be around next time, either having moved away or spontaneously died. The mayor glanced between him and the pages of meticulously copied diagrams like he'd gone insane. Finally, she found her voice.
You know that we could...
Sell them? Make your own? Anon nodded. I'm aware. And I don't care. I'm not doing this for money, so if you wish to use my work for profit, feel free. All I ask is that you make them as easily obtainable as possible. He had, of course, considered bringing his work to pony researchers himself, or even Griffin ones, but it wasn't good enough. Not yet. Not to him. Not until they were perfect and they could carry all the hope placed upon them.
I see. If we do, we will ensure that you are properly compensated. I swear it.
She nodded seriously, a strange emotion flickering across her face. He believed her, too. They had found him, after all. He couldn't even begin to imagine how much money they had dumped on searching for a solution to their daughter's plight. Somehow, they had heard of his work all the way on the outskirts, nestled right between the Crystal Empire and Equestria. If anyone could find him again, it'd probably be the two obscenely rich nobles sitting across from him. But that was fine. He made no effort to hide himself, so if they wished to use his research for profit and give him a cut, then all more power to them. His prosthetics, while woefully inadequate compared to real limbs, were still far, far ahead of what Ponykind had. They would easily be able to corner the market. The extra bits would certainly help his work, he supposed, but not nearly as much as one might think. Anon received another hug from the filly, and surprisingly, the mother before they went. Outside, they boarded the elegant white chariot in front of his cabin. He stood in the doorway as it left, kicking up dust all the way down the road until he could see it no more. Anon thought back to the smile of the filly as she hugged him, as if he had given her the world, as if he had given her her leg back. He didn't deserve that smile. It was just a hunk of metal, magic, and plastic, and despite what she had said, she couldn't really feel it. He doubted she would be able to pick up things with it, like regular ponies' hooves should. Anon sighed, rubbing at his eye. He needed a drink. Anon stumbled back to his room. He'd have to head into town tomorrow, pick up more wine, food as well, maybe. He could probably afford to import some meat from Griffonia now, instead of just eating produce from the market and what few fish he could catch from the nearby lake. That sounded nice. He was sick of salads. The door to his bedroom opened. A wobbly Anon stepped through and closed it behind him. Sitting on his bed, he leaned down and pulled up the fabric covering his right leg, before unscrewing the prosthetic limb and letting it fall to the side. He then reached up and tugged the false nose free from his face and the glass eye from his socket, dropping them into the box on his end table. His left arm was slowly unstrapped from around his shoulder and dropped carelessly onto the floor. The filly's smile flashed in his mind before sleep took him. Just a pale imitation. The end.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I liked that twist at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
No Tempest Shadow, though, for that one.
Yeah,
but
what the H?
I think that's probably...
I was excited.
I think that's probably chapter 2.
It's
but-
probably chapter 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we'll save that for next time.
Okie dokie.
All right. We'll go ahead and let you get back to it,
I
okay?
got a kiss.
And you all didn't. Be so jealous. I got a smooch on my cheek.
Yeah.
I got another.
Got another. All right.
Got another.
You have a good one, Muffin.
Thanks,
I love
Muff
you.
Muff. I love you. Mwah.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm
Mhm.
sad I couldn't be Tempest.
That's okay. You can be Tempest next time. I'll say-
Tempest.
I'll save this for I'll save this one for next stream where
Okay.
we'll get back into it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
So in the meantime, we have 2 story requests that came in during that story. We have Empty Plot Filler has one here. And Lightning Burn has one as well. Right here. Get those open here. All right. Let that load up. All right. So, Empty Plot Filler wanted. Let's see. Okay. This one is. Okay. Why is this not loading up for some reason? Give me a second. Huh. Oh, there it goes. Okay, that's weird, but okay. Okay, so fanfiction.net's website is a little bit weird, but I managed to get that open. Okay. So we'll get... Stretch. Okay. All right. So we'll do Empty Plot Fillers request first here. That is going to be Crossing the Trixie Bridge, Chapter 14, Like a Boss. Let's see. Get that running here. Boop. Okay. Crossing the Trixie Bridge by Empty Plot Filler, Chapter 14, Like a Boss. So we're jumping into this story like in the middle of the story, right? So there might be a lot of things that we don't know is going on, but we'll find out. All right. Kelly and Big Mac had their fun with each other as they finished the short trek back up to the barn. Okay, let's see. All right. I'll set that aside for right now. Kelly and Big Mac had their fun with each other as they finished the short trek back up to the barn. Big Mac was treating Kelly more than just a friend, with only the occasional flirt or hint at his interest, but they were tasteful and never overstepped that boundary. Kelly was doing much the same, though she was struggling to gain an edge since Big Mac was still playing off the idea that she was going after him. He didn't think of it as a tactic to keep her close, though. It was more of him just doing his best to mirror the style of humor that she seemed to share with her friends. Okay. Big Mac quietly pleaded through his laughs. We're here, so play it cool and keep your hands to yourself. Don't want your friends getting the wrong idea now. Hitting doesn't count, Kelly grunted between punches into Big Mac's shoulder. Big Mac was ready to concede such a point, but had his attention redirected to Granny Smith, staring angrily into the barn. She was tapping a dirty frying pan into her hoof rather menacingly. Granny, what are you doing here? With a frying pan? Big Mac asked. Macintosh, you watch your tone lest you're fixing to get a clobbering like these apple thieves. Granny Smith snarled into her aging southern accent. Apple thieves? Oh no, Granny. Big Mac feared the worst. Big Mac trotted up to the barn's wide open doors to see Serb and Lumberman sitting on the tailgate, thankfully unharmed. Big Mac turned and stood between Granny and his new friends. Granny, they aren't apple thieves. The sound of footsteps finally padded up to Granny's ears. She turned to see Kelly walking up with her hands clasped together and held to her chest. Yeah, another one! Granny shouted, turning her attention to the young lady, the frying pan ready to strike. You won't be walking away with any of these apples! Granny! Big Mac shouted. They're here to help harvest the apples, not steal them. Lumberman sat upright on the tailgate. I don't know what kind of voice to give this one, but I'm just going to assume. For the 100th time, lady. We brought Big Mac back home so we could help him gather apples. That's why we were unloading them in the barn and not trying to drive away with them. Granny lowered the pan and turned back to the big red horse. Macintosh, is that true? Big Mac groaned. Yes, Granny. I said it was okay for them to help me gather the apples for our orders today. Granny Smith tossed the pan down into the ground in a fit. Dag-nabbit, Big Macintosh, you know better than to hire help unless you ask me first. We can't afford to just... We offered to help as a favor, ma'am. We're working for free. Serb clarified. Granny Smith's eyes opened up as far as the whites would allow, and Kelly swore she heard the iconic cha-ching sound effect emanate from this pony's very being. Helping for free? Well, why didn't you just say so? Granny proclaimed in a much happier voice. Why, we apples could always use an extra set of hooves on the farm. Granny Smith somehow managed to sneak her way over to the two on the tailgate and was already shaking Serb's hand. Of course, upon shaking, she noticed all too late the incorrect anatomy. Or whatever your fellas have. Hands, Granny, Big Mac informed her. My new friends have hands instead of hooves. Granny lifted Serb's hand and carefully examined it. Well, I can't imagine they'd be all too helpful with bucking trees. No, ma'am, Lumberman answered. But we still managed to get the job done for the day. Granny started to stumble over her own words. Well, y'all what? Yep, Big Mac answered with a proud smile. Even got a start on tomorrow's batch, too. You don't say, Granny responded, slowly letting go of Serb's hand. Well, that's good to hear. Big Mac erected his posture, standing tall and proud. Granny cut his proud moment short with a quick jab to the chest with her hoof. 'Cause you're going to need the rest of the day to clean up with a whirlwind of a disaster you left in the kitchen. Her scolding continued. Plus, you still haven't finished setting up the rest of them fence posts, like you said you would. Granny, Big Mac attempted to defend himself, but Granny wouldn't have it. No excuses, mister, Granny demanded. Now I gotta have a mind to... Granny Smith? Kelly interrupted the verbal thrashing. Not to misjudge old Macintosh here, but in my experience, the kitchen is usually better suited to a lady's touch. Beg your pardon, missy? Granny inquired, shifting an uncertain glare. Kelly smiled sweetly, hoping she wasn't overstepping her bounds with this family affair. I'm just saying that perhaps Big Mac would be better suited heading out to finish up the fence post, and I could step in to take care of the mess he made. We can all help, Lumberman added from behind. Our friend Serb and I would have no problem helping to set some fence posts. And my friend Kelly there has a talent for cleaning up other people's messes. A special talent for cleaning up messes. Granny walked over to Kelly's side and examined her hips. You wouldn't happen to have a cutie mark to prove that, would you? Kelly looked down at her side where Granny had just examined, not processing the concept right away. Oh, no, we don't have those. How about I just show you? Granny closed her eyes with a defiant look of disapproval. I don't let just any pony into my kitchen. You see, we apples. Stop being so paranoid, Granny. Big Mac spoke up from behind. I can vouch for Kelly. If I can trust her, you can trust her. Granny turned and started to march towards Big Mac, looking like she was about to lay down the law only a well-experienced parent would know how to. Now hold up just one cotton-picking minute here, Macintosh. You know you can trust me, Big Mac stated bluntly, before turning his head with a gotcha grin. Because Granny didn't raise no fool now, did she? Granny stood, stupefied. She wasn't about to question the quality of her own parenting to Big Mac in front of the strangers. Too much apple pride for that. Oh, crab apples! You better hope I raise you right, Big Mac. If she ain't the most kitchen-friendly pot and pan cleaner I ever seen, you're gonna be on dish duty till the zap apples lose their sparks. Granny abruptly turned back and made her way into the house. And you better finish up that fence post before you expect to eat tonight, Granny threatened as she exited the barn. Come along, Missy. Let's see just how much Big Macintosh has learned from old Granny Smith. Kelly wasn't looking forward to whatever disaster Big Mac had left behind. She locked eyes with the big red dolt and mouthed the words, "You owe me." With the ladies departed, the men were left to tend to the fencing work. Sorry about that, guys. Big Mac apologized to Serb and Lumberman. She's a really nice pony one. Yeah, man, it's cool. Lumberman chimed in, sliding off the tailgate. If a black guy showed up on my farm and was moving baskets of my fruit unannounced, I'd be angry too. Big Mac seemed lost, trying to make sense of that statement. Oh, Serb blurted out. Because she has a southern accent, right? Lumberman reached into the bed of his truck and grabbed another barrel of apples. Hey, white folk is white folk. Even if they are a green horse, he joked. You're so full of shit, man. Serb slipped out with a laugh. I don't get it, Big Mac complained. Why would it be bad for a black human to be on a farm? And what's a white folk? And how was my granny one? Is this another one of your human pranks? Lumberman set the barrel of apples down on a stack, with the others they had collected. Nah, Mac Daddy. That's all gonna be over your head for a while. Big Mac looked up towards the rafters of the barn. His eyes darted from side to side, searching for anything out of place. I don't see anything over my head. He quickly lowered his eyes back down and cheerfully grinned at Lumberman. Oh, I get it. You just wanted me to go looking for white folks, but white folks aren't real, are they? Well, no, Serb corrected him. White folks are real. I'm one. Big Mac couldn't tell if they were being serious or if this was part of another prank. Oh. So can only green ponies be white folk, or can you turn into a green pony too? Serb lowered his head and chuckled. After a good laugh, he turned to Lumberman while pulling out another barrel of apples. Okay, dude. We can do race jokes in front of the pony. We can't do race jokes in front of the ponies anymore. Apparently, sighed Lumberman. Right. So is the prank over? Big Mac asked, still unsure. Do I have to get your back now? Lumberman grabbed another barrel. No, man, it was stupid of me to bring it up. Only humans would get it. Because you're black? Big Mac guessed. Oh my god! Because you're black? Oh, man. Yeah. Lumberman humoredly acknowledged. Don't worry about it. Let's just worry about getting the work done. And we can worry about that later, alright? A short time later. Serb was carrying a stack of wooden fence posts over his shoulder, dropping one along the path every few steps. Lumberman was digging another narrow hole in the same path, in front of each new post to be set. Big Mac carefully raised a large wooden mallet overhead, somehow being able to hold it with his hooves, though it was apparently a struggle for him. With some impressive precision, he guided the mallet down onto the post, sticking it further into the ground. The handle bounced loose in his grip, and he had to readjust before he raised the mallet again for another whack with it. "Hey," Serb called out on his way back up to get more posts. "Mind if I take a shot at it?" He motioned to the mallet. Big Mac lifted up the heavy mallet. "Well, I guess if you want to give it a try, you got to be pretty strong to drive down the post." Serb gripped the mallet's handle, getting an idea of its weight, which was lighter than he had expected. It's not always about how hard you can hit. Usually, it's how you hit it, you know? Giggity. Oh my fucking god, a Family Guy reference. Jesus Christ. Alright, Lumberman chimed in. "Well, any pony can swing it." Big Mac's words were cut off by a loud crack of the mallet landing on its target. He stared in amazement at just how far the post went down with each blow from Serb's swings. Not just how much more he was able to drive down the post, but also the speed he was able to pull back and reset for another swing each time. With just a few more thuds, the post was down to its proper depth. Serb relaxed the mallet in his hands. "See what I mean?" "Yup," Big Mac admitted. "You know, if you could get a better grip on this thing, you could swing just as fast as hard as I do," Serb informed him. "If I set a few more of these posts, could you grab some more for me and bring back some rope or leather straps if you got them?" Big Mac didn't know what Serb wanted either one of those last two items for, but didn't question the offer. Not if he was going to keep pounding the fence post like he was. Sure, I can do that. I'll be right back." By the time Big Mac returned with another stack of fence posts, Serb had already caught up to Lumberman, who was digging the next hole. Big Mac shifted the weight on his back as he dumped the posts. "I think I got what you were asking for." Big Mac reached behind his back, gripped the spindle of leather straps in his mouth, and dropped them at Serb's feet. "Are these okay?" Serb bent down and grabbed the straps. "Oh yeah, easy day." Serb grabbed the mallet again, standing it upright on its head. He wrapped the leather around the shaft enough times where he could get a whole hand around it. Then he brought both ends together and tied them in an elaborate fashion Big Mac hadn't seen before. From his boot, Serb pulled out a short, fixed blade. Big Mac looked on with caution, not expecting him to be carrying a weapon. Serb pulled up the strap, visually measured it for excess, and made a cut. He brought the end of the strap back in and tied it into a loop. Satisfied, Serb put the knife back in his boot. "Give me your right hand. Hoof. Sorry." Big Mac did as requested and let Serb place the loop just above his hoof, tightening it just enough to not slip out. Serb let go of Big Mac's hoof and stood up. "All right." Twist the strap around a few times so it's tight, and then try to swing it. Big Mac started to see just what Serb had done. He gave the straps 3 spins, making the leather strap nice and tight. By the time he stood up on his hind legs, Lumberman already had another post ready for him to pound in like before. Big Mac raised the mallet and was able to keep control all the way up and all the way down on its intended target. This time it didn't bounce off out of his hooves or slip from his grip like it used to. "Better?" Serb asked. "Much better," Big Mac answered, still impressed at the genius in its simplicity. "Big Macintosh!" Applejack's voice shouted unexpectedly. The three trained their eyes to her voice. "What in tarnation are you thinking?" Applejack scolded. "I come back here to get some supplies so we can help Lumberman and his friends, and what do I see? Kelly cleaning up your mess in the kitchen. All the apples you were supposed to gather were stacked by them, and now you're here having Serb and Lumberman doing your fence work?" "It's Lumberman with an A, not an E," Lumberman corrected the angry apple horse. "And we asked to help. You know, trying to be good neighbors. Isn't that the Apple way or something?" Applejack had to take a second to think around not condoning her own ideology. "Well, yes, it is, but that's not the point. You just got here and shouldn't be building our fences and working the orchard like you did." "It's because he's black, isn't it?" Big Mac accused Applejack, trying to defend his friend. "You're just trying to keep the white folks working the fields, ain't you?" Oh my fucking god. What should have been a serious moment, full of contention, was ruined by Serb doubling over with laughter. Lumberman wasn't laughing, though. He held his face in both hands and just sulked, the teeth of a bad joke coming back to bite him in the ass. After a moment of nothing but Serb laughing like a jackass, killing any conversation and leaving the two ponies baffled about what was so funny, Lumberman joined Big Mac by his side. Okay. Okay. Lumberman laid a hand on Big Mac's shoulder. Big Red, I like you, my dude. For real. We're cool and all, but just don't bring up the black man defense again. Seriously, full stop right here. Do not engage. Lumberman turned back quickly to see if Serb had settled down at all, which he hadn't. And funny as it was for you to say to keep the white folks in the fields, Lumberman had to take a moment to collect himself. You got that shit completely wrong. It's pretty clear she meant both me and Serb about not working the fields. And I mean, I'm not even going to start on how backwards. Lumberman had to back away before making it more awkward than it already was. I'll explain this all to you later, okay? Right, Applejack answered, her words slow and sounding unsure. Tell you boys what. How about you both go on ahead and take a break for a bit, while my brother here explains to me just what all's been going on since I left this morning. Lumberman raised his hands and backed away. Hey, that's fine. You both go ahead and do what you need to do. Big Mac took one step forward, but stopped as he felt the mallet dragging along with him. Whoops, forgot about that. Hey, I got you, man, Lumberman said, coming to Big Mac's side. Lumberman helped to undo the strap and took hold of the mallet. Oh, here, you take it. Lumberman took the loop off the strap and dropped it over one of the hames? Oh, hames on Big Mac's horse collar. Right. Big Mac looked back to see it hanging off to his side. Well now, that seems mighty convenient. Ugh, Big Mac, can we get a walking? Applejack asked, growing short with her brother. The two siblings trotted back up in the direction of the house, leaving Serb and Lumberman to take their break. Well, Lumberman said, turning back to Serb. That was awkward. Serb started to lose the fight of holding back his laughter, trying to keep the white folks working in the fields. He managed to spit out before falling back into his full gut-filled laughter again. Even Lumberman now had to laugh along. God damn it. We're going to end up corrupting these poor bastards. All right. Going to take a quick pee break to refill my water, and we'll get right back to this story. So we will be right back. Wooten jump scare. Huh. Hey, all right. So let's get right back into it. All right. All right. Okay. The two removed themselves from the fence line and found shelter in the shade of a nearby tree. It was a much-needed break from the warm air and the beating rays of the sun. Serb was already getting a sunburn on the back of his neck, or so it felt like. What are we really doing here, man? Lumberman asked. Serb stayed on his back, watching the spots of sunlight dance in and out between the leaves as the gentle breeze moved through. These Apple's horses have been good to us. They have status, connections, supplies, and access to resources we could never get on our own. If we keep good ties with them, that's going to ensure we have some security and protection out here. That, and they just seem like good people to know. Serb took a pause, reflecting on distant memories. Mac actually reminds me of a Marine I used to know, Corporal Thomas. A 3043 practically ran the whole supply platoon himself. Dude always found time to find out what all the infantry guys needed. Boots, phone cards, candy bars, or hot sauce. Whatever we needed, he had our back. And then his dad died. He went back for the funeral, came back a few weeks later, and separated. Lumberman was quick to ask before Serb went on any further. Why'd he get out? Couldn't deal with the loss or something? Nah, nothing like that, Serb replied. I mean, yeah, he was pretty broken up about it, but he came from some big-ass farm. Cornfields and cattle, all that shit. But when his dad died, his mom and younger brothers and sisters couldn't keep up. Said they were going to lose the farm if he didn't come home. And he did. He didn't even ask if he could stay in, just asked what he had to sign to get out. Lumberman shot him a questionable look. They can let you out for shit like that? Serb huffed. You can get out for just about any reason so long as the CO approves it, really. There's some legal text out there that covers shit like it in his situation, but I don't remember how it works. He was a good man, though. Good Marine. Lucky fucker actually had a family worth keeping. Must be nice. Lumberman answered back. His words were honest and reflected the same tone of sorrow and jealousy Serb had. Found him on Facebook a while back, Serb added. Married, kids of his own now. Full-blown cowboy redneck. Lumberman laughed slightly. Sounds like your kind of people. Corn-fed and cowboy hats. Serb innocently laughed at the idea. Ha, fuck you, dude. I look goofy enough without some stupid-ass hat on my head. Besides, you know that I'm clearly the upper crust of white trash, not redneck. Hill rod, maybe. Lumberman pulled out a clump of grass and tossed it into Serb's face. Ah, come on, man. You know that shit's interchangeable. Serb muffled out. Like you know white folks' lifestyles. Kiss my ass, he joked. You'd think between you, Chris, and Benny that I've learned something by now, Lumberman said, playfully sarcastic. Serb brushed the grass off his chest. At least half, Chris, Serb offered. I mean, he's no Thomas, but shit, you know? Lumberman gave in. I'll figure it out someday. I'll discover the secrets to your hidden cowboy life you don't want me to see. A woman's scream came blasting from the house, making the two sit upright. They listened for a moment, trying to assess what they had just heard. A moment of absolute silence, save the gentle brushing of leaves overhead, was all they could hear. Serb! Kelly's voice cut out through the calm of the warm spring afternoon. Her scream was urgent. She needed help. What the fuck? Lumberman asked, looking back up towards the house where Kelly and the others were supposed to be. Get up! Go, go, go! Serb shouted, rising to his feet and pulling Lumberman up with him. They both raced towards the house. Minutes earlier in the Apple House. Do both the cinnamon and sugar go in this cupboard, or just the cinnamon? Kelly asked Granny Smith. Cinnamon up top, sugar down below, Granny directed. Kelly put the last two items away and reached over to shut off the water in the sink. This reminds me a lot of the times I would go over and help my friend Becky clean up her house. Her mother was probably the worst cook I'd ever met. I can't remember how many times I had to scrape charred macaroni from the bottom of a pot or petrified chunks of cheese from a casserole dish. Well, that bad, huh? Granny asked, finding some humor in the story. Oh, God, it was bad. Kelly added. That lady couldn't take care of a household if her life depended on it. Luckily for Becky, she had friends like me and everyone else. Granny pulled out a stool and sat down, resting her front hooves on the center table. This friend of yours, Becky. She couldn't do the cleaning or cooking herself? Kelly dipped her hands in the warm, soapy water, scrubbing the first set of dishes. Well, sometimes she could. Becky is the one that I mentioned earlier that's sick. Some days are worse than others for her. And back then, when we were younger, she wasn't getting all the right meds and treatments to help her breathing, to keep her on her feet. So we helped her out as best as we could. Granny could respect such a sentiment. Well, that's mighty kind of folk. That's mighty kind of y'alls to take care of a friend like that. Yep, Kelly gleefully replied. Some of us cooked, some of us cleaned. Lumberman was their go-to handyman. I just heard Bree laughing from the other side of the wall. All right. There was a go-to handyman. Other times we would just take turns driving her out to her medical appointments when her mother was too busy. She must have been a hard-working lady, Granny replied. Being a mom isn't easy, you know. Kelly slowed down at that response. Her hand circled a dish with much less effort in the sink. Yeah, something like that. Granny could tell that was a response that was leaving something left unspoken. Something like that, or something not like that, sweetie? Kelly stopped washing the plate. The question had hit some unpleasant memories. No, it wasn't like that. She picked up her pace and went back to washing. Becky's mom was terrible. Kelly spoke up more clearly. She did everything she could to try and push Becky off to anyone else who could take her after she first got sick. Said she couldn't deal with the hardship of watching her baby girl suffer. Not that she could have noticed when she was blitzed out of her mind, bouncing from one deadbeat boyfriend to the next. Granny felt terrible for having asked now. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. Kelly continued without letting another word in edgewise. It's fine, Granny. When things got worse, Becky had us to take care of her. But then her mother found out that she could pull money from the state to take care of her. So, suddenly watching her baby girl suffer became a badge of honor she wore for everyone to see. Of course, eventually doing the bare minimum was too much for her, and it started daily fights between her and Becky. Then her mom started calling us up, screaming why we weren't doing everything we could to help our friend. So, we eventually took over all the responsibilities of taking care of Becky, with the agreement that her mother never talked to us again. No, can't be serious, Granny asked, rather shocked. Nope, Kelly answered. She never won a Mother of the Year award, and no one ever had to ask why. Granny Smith, came Applejack's voice through an opening door. Can you tell me why you allowed our new guest to... Applejack again noticed Kelly was cleaning. Allowed our guest to do Big Mac's chores? It's no problem, honestly, Kelly answered. We were happy to help. Well, yes, I gathered that, Applejack sneered. Granny motioned for Applejack to join her at the table. Now, Applejack, from what I've heard so far, Kelly and her friends seem like some real tough cookies. And it's not like we couldn't use the help here on the farm. A knock on the door interrupted the conversation. Granny looked up towards the front door. Big Mac, be a dear and see who that is, would you? Big Mac turned and walked through the doorway, the mallet bumping up against the door frame. And don't be bringing any more tools in the house, Granny hollered. She bitterly looked down at the table. Crab apples, she mumbled before looking up to Applejack again. Where was I? Oh, yes. Now, when Big Mac first told me what all the goings-on was, I said the same thing. But when... Applejack. Big Mac intentionally interrupted. I think this might be important. Big Mac came into the kitchen, 3 royal guards following in tow. Spearhead and 2 Gary Stew-looking guards. My goodness. To Spearhead's right stood a white earth pony holding a spear. To the left was a white unicorn with a sword and shield strapped to either side. Applejack sat still, trying to figure out why the royal guards would be looking for her. Can I help you fellas? We're kind of in the middle of something. Spearhead stepped forward between the 2 guards who accompanied him. Applejack, we have ordered to escort you to the dwelling of the humans. Princess Celestia is to interrogate them in their connection to the wanted fugitive, Sunset Shimmer. Kelly quietly put down the dishes back into the sink and started to dry her hands. She realized that a bad situation had found its way to the kitchen. One she shouldn't stick around for. Interrogate? Fugitive? Applejack exclaimed, jumping out of her seat. Hey, it seems like I shouldn't be here for this. I'm gonna take a step outside if that's okay. Kelly softly spoke, making her way to the door that she originally came in when she left the barn. Oh, Buck, Big Mac said under his breath. Hey, sis, you get that all worked out. I'm going to take our good, long-time friend outside. Keep her out of your mane while you talk with your buddies. Hold it right there, civilian, Spearhead ordered, trying to sound as intimidating as possible. Who's your friend there? He quickly trailed off, taking in all the features of Kelly. Hey! The Earth Pony shouted, pointing his spear at Kelly. Look! Only stands on 2 legs, no body fur, and no claws or fangs. That thing is a human! The unicorn grabbed his sword with his magic and drew it. He pointed the blade first at Granny, then Kelly. No pony move! No pony move! His voice trembled and he was visibly frightened. Celestia said the humans could be dangerous like Sunset Shimmer, the Earth Pony rattled off, sounding just as frightened as the unicorn. I've heard stories of Sunset. She took out over 12 guards. Not even Celestia was able to stop her. The Earth Pony guard struggled to steady his spear and keep it trained on Kelly. The princess demands an audience with you. Kelly backed away, trying to make her way for the door. Mac, Granny, Applejack, I didn't do anything. I don't know what they're talking about. Granny slid off her stool, marching up to Spearhead, a stern gaze from her aging eyes beating down on him. Now hold on just a minute here, Buster. Kelly's here with us, and she... Spearhead brushed her aside into Applejack. She is coming with us, as are you, Applejack. Applejack steadied Granny back up onto all fours. Y'all need to calm down. Just let us talk to Kelly first. No, I'm not going anywhere with you. Kelly turned to reach for the doorknob, but was stopped by the Earth Pony jumping in front of her. She doubled back as the tip of the spear came dangerously close to her face. Mac! Mac, don't let them take me! The chaos that followed was a mesh of fear and stupidity that would have left lasting damage and shaped major future events. In many ways, this is where it all went wrong. Kelly turned her back to the Earth Pony guard and threw herself into Big Mac's neck. She wrapped her arms around him for protection. Spearhead moved up, cutting off the line of sight between the Earth Pony and the unicorn. The unicorn pressed forward to separate the two, but only took a single step before Applejack reached out and pulled back on his armor, trying to stop him. The Earth Pony guard readied his weapon and ordered Kelly away from the civilian. Big Mac brought his left front leg up to pull Kelly in closer to him. At the same time, he noticed that the unicorn brought his sword back and struck Applejack in the head with the hilt, which knocked her back. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck? Big Mac, in a fit of panic, shouted to the unicorn, "No! Stop!" The Earth Pony could only see Kelly grabbing Mac, and assumed that he was yelling at her to stop. The young royal guard reacted the only way he thought he should at this alien threat attacking a fellow equestrian. "Treacherous beast!" the royal guard yelled before thrusting his spear in a misguided attempt of bravery and defense for another pony. There was no drawn-out contemplation of what transpired. Kelly didn't stop to question why the pain had ripped its way through her side and radiated. My goodness. Something must be funny out there. I think she's watching RuPaul's Drag Race or something. Anyway. Kelly didn't stop to question why the pain had ripped its way through her side and radiated through her ribs. Her body stiffened, but her legs buckled. Then, her lips parted just enough for her gut to steal one short and powerful gasp. The change in Kelly's posture, as well as her gasp for air, forced Big Mac's attention away from his sister and back to Kelly. He reared his head up and pulled his eyes back in line with hers. Big Mac didn't see the pain in her eyes at first glance. It was the terror she felt that was all too easy to read. Those shiny windows to the soul, decorated with splashes of brown and amber that previously shined with such alluring beauty, were now shallow and desperate. Still holding on to Big Mac, Kelly's fingers curled and tightened, one hand gripping his mane and the other pressing through the fur onto his neck and clawing at his skin. Then, like a banshee, she wailed a deafening scream that froze every pony in the room. So immobilized were the unprepared ponies that the Earth Pony guard didn't even retract his weapon. Kelly pulled herself away. The shaft bowed under the pressure of her torn flesh bearing down against the tip of the spear at its awkward angle. Immediately, Kelly felt the warmth running down her side, blood pumping out with every heartbeat. She stumbled a few steps away from the bloodied edges of the spear and grasped over the wound with her palm before she collapsed. Her back slammed with the full weight of her body into the lower cupboards. She slid further down to her side, the blood already soaking her shirt, leaving a smear of crimson as she descended to the floor. She held up her hand to assess the damage. No patch of skin was left unpainted in red. She called out just as loud as her scream before. "Serb!" "What did you do?" Big Mac boomed, the rage turning his innocent presence to one so domineering that even Spearhead shuddered. "Oh my gosh! Kelly!" Applejack shouted as she rushed over to Kelly's side, only to be blocked off by Spearhead's outstretched wing. "Hey, what the—" Applejack protested. The frightened Gary Stu Earth Pony quivered under the vehement approach of Big Mac. The situation was out of their control, and this foolish guard rationalized the idea that he needed to take it back himself. My goodness. "Citizen," he weakly commanded, "I need you to step aside, or you will be charged with aiding and—" Big Mac could no longer tolerate any more of these royal thugs. And this puffed-up pony before him would be the first to face his wrath. Big Mac needed only to lean forward to close the distance between him and the Earth Pony. Coming in fast with a battle cry, he brought down his teeth on the poor pony's snout and clamped down tight. Ignoring the pleading screams to let go, Big Mac shook the pony hard in his jaws, just as a predator would its prey. Big Mac thrashed the guard trapped in his maw, slamming him into the kitchen counters, then the table, then up off his hooves and down onto the floor. Spearhead jumped in to rescue his comrade, but was stopped by the battered guard's body slamming into him. He was struck hard enough by the ragdoll guard that it lifted him off his hooves and sent him into the unicorn that was too awestruck to react. Another round of thrashing and Big Mac finally released him on the upward shake, slamming him into the ceiling. The guard ponies crashed against the plaster overhead, sending broken shards off in all directions. Now barely conscious, the pony fell into the empty bucking zone of Ponyville's #1 apple tree bucker. The pony guard mentally braced for an impact he could not avoid, and with a mighty buck, the guard was fired off the wall like a cannonball via a 2-iron horseshoe delivery service. My goodness. The walls stood no chance against the stallion's body at such speeds and force. The timber was ripped off and splintered as most of the outside wall was obliterated in a spectacle of wood, glass, plaster, and pony all tossed out onto the lawn. The unicorn guard struggled to come to his feet. Spearhead was stunned by the impact and was slow to stand up or let the unicorn out from under him. "Spearhead, get a hold of yourself! We need to rein in this renegade pony!" The unicorn finally managed to push Spearhead up with the combined effort of his hooves and magic. His sword and shield levitated back up to him, and he readied himself for combat. "Big Mac, no!" Applejack shouted at the towering height of her brother. The unicorn then saw it too. Big Mac had the leather strap around his hoof and had just finished the last tightening spin. The unicorn dropped his sword and cowered under his shield. Quietly, he prayed, "Celestia, as your faithful royal guard, I pray that you protect me from all threats that—" Big Mac swung down with full force. The mallet struck the shield dead center, creating a gong that ran through the whole house and echoed far past the borders of the orchard. Down below, a second gong from the shield rang out while bouncing in the cellar and echoed up through the new pony-sized hole in the kitchen floor. That was more than enough to put Spearhead back into the proper headspace. He grabbed the sword in his left wing and jumped back to take him out of striking range. "Big Mac, by the authority of the Royal Guards of Equestria, you are under arrest for interfering with Her Majesty's orders and the assault of 2 of her royal guards. You will be treated as an enemy hostile and detained by force unless you drop your weapon and surrender the human accomplice now. Goodness. Big Mac sidestepped to Kelly, still slumped over and struggling to hold the wound in her side closed. He slung back the mallet behind him and stretched out his free hoof to her. As difficult as it was to do, she let go of her wound and reached out with her bloody hand, interlocking it with his fetlock. How do you interlock it? How do you interlock with a fetlock? You can't do that. That's a hoof. Anyway, he pulled her close. He pulled her in close to his chest and let her move her hand back up to cover her wound again. He held her tightly and added more pressure to the bleeding gash. It'll be a bright and sunny day in Tartarus before I let any of you close to Kelly or any of her friends again, Big Mac snarled in defiance. Spearhead was almost happy to hear the refusal. That was your third and final mistake. Kelly started to mumble something, though her sobs made it hard to understand. Get Serb, lumberman, take me home. Don't worry, Miss Kelly. I'll make sure you get home. Don't you worry about that one bit, Big Mac assured her as he walked her closer to the open wall. You hear me? Big Mac asked. Kelly didn't answer. Oh. You hear me? Big Mac asked. Kelly didn't answer. Her head slumped down and her body went limp. Big Mac gently shook her. Kelly, you still with me? Miss Kelly? Come on now. After she didn't reply again, Big Mac started to panic. Miss Kelly? He looked down to see her still breathing but otherwise lifeless. The familiar sound of the truck's engine revving up roared outside from the barn made its way through the busted... The familiar sound of the truck's engine revving up roared outside from the barn made its way through the busted wall. That's an interesting sentence. Okay. Big Mac's ears turned to the source and recognized the noise. He softly laid Kelly down on the floor, knowing what it meant. Applejack, take Miss Kelly outside to her friends. I'm not done with Flathead here. My name's Spearhead, you traitor, the Pegasus spat. Big Mac glared down across the room at the confident Pegasus. That's where you're wrong. It's Flathead, and I have the mallet to prove it. Applejack ran to her brother's side, slipped herself under Kelly's arm, and started to carry her out. Now don't you do nothing foolish, Big Mac. I won't, Big Mac boasted, bouncing the mallet up and down in his hoof. And don't you go losing neither, Applejack added. Of course not, sis, Big Mac grunted, bringing the mallet up, ready for another swing. That would be foolish. Applejack was only a few steps through the busted wall, and Serb was already running up to her. Serb sped up the porch to Applejack, Kelly's limp body half on Applejack's back, and the other half dragged through the scattered pieces of the busted wall. A trail of blood dripped and was smeared along their path. What happened? What happened to Kelly? Serb demanded, sounding just as furious as Big Mac was moments ago. Applejack helped slide Kelly off her back and into Serb's arms. I don't know what's going on. Celestia's guards showed up saying they need me to go to y'all's place so she could talk to your friends about some wanted criminal named Sunset Shimmer. Both ponies in the house finally ended the standoff and charged at each other, yelling like madmen. Spearhead raised himself into the air and kicked the kitchen table into Big Mac's gut, taking him down to the floor. Big Mac landed on his back as the table came up to a stop. As the table came to a stop over him. He grunted angrily, coming into the fight with this kind of disadvantage. As he glared, looking up at the underside of the table, Spearhead's sword stabbed through and pierced into the floor, missing Big Mac's face by only inches and cutting off a lock of hair. His eyes focused on the blade, seeing just how close it came. He then looked back up again. What happened to being detained? Spearhead struggled to pull the blade out, getting it wedged in the flooring. He grunted as he strained. I hope this thing is stuck in your stupid face! Big Mac snorted hard, literally huffing steam. Typical elitist Pegasus. Still needs an earth pony to do the heavy lifting, Big Mac mocked, while curling up his rear legs and positioning his hooves under the center of the table. Another mighty buck from the big red stallion sent the table rocketing up. Spearhead, sword and all, crashed into the ceiling, sandwiched between the table that cracked around the polished gold armor of the Pegasus. Spearhead grit his teeth, looking down at the table as it fell away while he remained loosely stuck in the ceiling. As the table dropped further, he could see just past its edge that the mallet was drawing back again for an upward strike. He flexed his wings, pushing himself out of the plaster and releasing him. As fast as he could, he flapped his right wing with a powerful thrust and then turned his body. That's all he needed to fly out from above the table, and as Big Mac delivered a devastating blow to the table. The table cracked again under the force of the mallet, and broke through the weakened upstairs flooring. The table itself then snapped apart, freeing the sword. Spearhead smashed his hooves against the wall and bucked himself off back into the fight. Flying in, he caught the sword in his teeth and moved to slash at this big red target. Big Mac arched back, narrowly missing the blade cutting through the air. Spearhead landed on the floor, dropped the sword from his mouth, and into his waiting wing. With a firm grasp on it again, he thrust himself back into the fight. The house quickly became filled with the sounds of their weapons clashing together. The battle intensified, and all the clamoring from their crashing and smashing as they tore the house apart broke out into the open air. Serb didn't have the luxury of joining the fight at the moment. Kelly lay in his arms, unconscious, and blood still spilling out under his hand. He had carried Kelly down the porch, and now ran towards the barn. Applejack followed Serb by his side, continuing her explanation. Then they realized that Kelly was a human, and said they were going to take her back to your place, whether she liked it or not. Then... Applejack shook her head. I don't know what happened next. I got thumped on the head, and one of the guards stabbed Kelly with his spear for no good reason at all. And then Big Macintosh just went ballistic on all of them. And where are we going? Applejack's ears twisted towards an unfamiliar mechanical noise. What's that sound? On cue, lumbermen pulled out of the barn with the tires spinning and kicking up dust. He whipped the truck around and steered towards them. Applejack remembered the large yellow wagon machine from the human's house. She wondered what type of magic must be used to make the Ursoi's contraption move on its own like it did. We heard Kelly scream and started running, Serb explained, panting with Kelly still in his arms. Then we saw something crash through your wall, so I told Lumberman to get the truck. I figured it was time to get the fuck out of here, Serb finished explaining. It wasn't a thing that crashed through the wall. It was him! Applejack trotted in place with Serb and pointed with her hoof at the white earth pony. The pony that she pointed to was knocked out cold, covered in debris from his forceful exit from the house, and heaped up in a lump on the lawn. The bumps and bruises he got from Big Mac's beating showed through every area of his body not covered in armor. His snout stuck out as he especially bruised and swollen around the bite mark. That'd be the fella that stabbed Kelly, Applejack revealed. What you see there is all Big Mac's doing. Almost too fast to be safe, Lumberman pulled up alongside them. What the fuck happened here? And who the fuck is Big Mac fighting in there? Lumberman yelled out and through the passenger window, pointing to the hole in the side of the farmhouse. Stretch. Looking inside, it was clear that Big Mac was in a struggle. He swung the mallet frantically, trying to take down the last royal guard, but the Pegasus could dance. One short flap of his wings had him dart in any which direction he wanted. Just as nimble, however, Big Mac managed to dodge or block each slash and jab of the sword the Pegasus somehow managed to hold in his wings. Okay, excuse me. Serb turned back to the truck and opened the rear side door. He laid Kelly halfway onto the floor of the back of the seat. Resting her head over her still bleeding wound. Applejack, sit here with Kelly. Pull her in the rest of the way and keep the pressure on the wound. James, take them back to the house. Have Becky stitch her up. I'll be back as soon as you can. As soon as I can. Be back as soon as you can? Where the fuck are you going? Lumberman demanded. Get in the fucking truck. Let's go. Serb backed up enough to let Applejack jump in with Kelly. Mac's still in there. No one gets left behind, he proclaimed as a matter of fact while helping to bring Kelly's legs in. With Kelly in and Applejack tending to her, he shut the door. Exactly, Lumberman shouted. You're someone. I ain't leaving you here. Back to the house, both stallions were panting, though neither would yield. Spearhead cautiously stepped around the debris in the room, keeping pace with Big Mac. Okay, this has gone on long enough, Spearhead announced before dropping his sword. Big Mac couldn't tell if this was some kind of diversion or if the Pegasus was surrendering. The answer came with Spearhead stomping his hoof on the blunt end of the spear the Earth Pony had dropped. The Earth Pony guard had dropped. The spear flipped up and spun in a blur, with Spearhead managed to snatch it out of the air mid-spin. Not only did he catch it, he quickly demonstrated his familiarity with the weapon, spinning it around his hooves and back, never letting it come into contact with the surroundings. This was his weapon of mastery. The last guard stood poised and ready, the spear in his hooves still held firm and steady. I'm about to show you why my name is Spearhead, he threatened through gritted teeth. Spearhead, look out! Granny Smith shouted out behind him. Spearhead reactively turned to face the new threat. Unfortunately, he did not turn fast enough, and something black and metallic struck him between the eyes. Whatever it was, when it connected with his helmet, it released a pleasant aroma of apples and cinnamon. A bit burnt, but still pleasing to the senses. Granny Smith glared daggers at the staggered Pegasus. I just threw a frying pan at your face! Ha ha! Take that, you orange peel-eating jerk! The final guard's vision flashed to all white, and he had become disoriented. The frying pan that struck him delivered something much worse than a headache he could ever bring on. Hey, Flathead! Big Mac yelled out. Spearhead turned to where he had heard Big Mac's voice. Several frightening images of a giant, angry farm horse holding a mallet slowly came into focus and spun around each other. It's... He stumbled forward awkwardly, yet still determined. Spearhead. Not after this, Big Mac corrected him. The last thing Spearhead saw was several Big Macs on their hind legs, all taking a step forward, their front right hooves stretched out behind him, and their mallets arching up towards him. He was defeated without further protest. Waiting for the final blow, he gripped his spear as tightly as he could with whatever pride as a royal guard he had left, shut his eyes, and waited for the darkness to embrace him. When Big Mac's swing connected, Spearhead felt nothing. Not the mallet's impact jarring his brain against his cranium, not the metal of his helmet flattening over his head, nor his face busting through the kitchen floor. Those were all things he would feel when he woke up staring down into the cellar. Big Mac stood triumphant and exhausted, still holding the mallet that trapped the head of his new enemy in the floor. Serb peeked his head around into the kitchen from the remaining section of the wall still standing. He didn't expect to see the scene Big Mac had created. Serb peered into what looked like Big Mac standing over a horse decapitated by his mallet. Is it clear? Big Mac didn't even look back. Yep. Serb stepped in and examined all the damage. Jesus, fuck. How many of these pricks did you kill? Big Mac snapped his attention to Serb and all but jumped in shock. Kill? I didn't kill no pony. They'll be fine. Spearhead's leg twitched, and a wing rapidly tried to flap and stretch into short, jerky contractions. Big Mac pulled the mallet out of the hole and he smashed Big Mac pulled the mallet out of the hole he smashed Spearhead's face through. I mean, not today, obviously. Granny Smith crept over, looking down into the first hole from the unicorn guard, and then craned her neck to the Pegasus. Certainly not tomorrow either. Certainly not tomorrow either. As much as Serb wanted to explore this, there were more pressing matters at hand. Okay, Big Red, I owe you, but we need to get Kelly out of here. I need to know what they did to her. Was she poisoned or did they use some kind of magic to knock her out? The sound of glass and wood snapping pulled their attention as Lumberman backed the truck up to the porch in front of the kitchen. Lumberman put the truck in park and stuck his torso out the window, waving his hand frantically. We gotta go now! Lumberman spoke up just low enough for them to hear, but did so with urgency. A knock came from the front door again. Apples! This is the Canterlot Royal Guard. We're here to rendezvous with Spearhead and the rest of our guard to escort Miss Applejack to the princess. We also heard sounds of a struggle on our way here. We may require your assistance. The rest of the squad, Serb uttered under his breath. Fucking A. Squads can be up to 12 strong. Serb patted Big Mac on his chest and looked to Granny. Mac, Granny, get in the truck. We'll get you out of here. No, Granny protested. You two go. I'll distract them. Granny? Big Mac questioned her offer. Granny turned to Serb. You there, big fella. Get your friends in Macintosh somewhere safe. She turned to Big Mac. Don't worry about me. I can handle this. Big Mac protested. But Granny. Mac? Serb tugged on Big Mac's horse collar. Come on, we gotta go now. He ordered before hurrying back and jumping into the bed of his truck. Mac, Granny said softly, placing a hoof on Big Mac's cheek. I know why you did what you did. Big Mac looked at Granny, who was oddly smiling warmly with knowing eyes. He couldn't believe she already knew. You can't help her by staying here or getting carted off to the dungeon, Granny explained. Now go with them, but don't leave until the music starts. That contraption is too noisy. You'll never get out unnoticed, she instructed, walking calmly out to the next room while the pounding of the door came again. Big Mac swallowed hard and nodded. Thanks, Granny. Big Mac trotted over and stepped into the metal bed of the truck as quietly as he could. Hold on. Granny said not to leave until she turns the music on. Lumberman opened a sliding glass panel on the back window. Where's the granny horse? Serb moved his face in front of the window. Just hold a sec. She said not to leave until the music starts. Lumberman could have popped a blood vessel. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck we need music for? He stage whispered. Oh, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck we need music for? He stage whispered furiously. We need to get Kelly out of here right the fuck now. Get your granny in here and let's go. Applejack looked up, still holding Kelly up against her and doing her best to control the bleeding. Big Mac, what do you mean wait till the music starts? What's Granny doing? Static and the crackling pops of a record player suddenly were heard from somewhere in the house. Mac, Serb, and Lumberman silently looked back into the house. Applejack turned an ear to the open window. More knocking came pounding on the front door. Whoever was out there started yelling into the door about who they were and why they were there again. Then the music began to play and it all but drowned them out. The music seemed familiar. It sounded like something resembling the 1920s styled saloon piano music. The kind where ladies dressed in Western-themed cabaret and would dance on stage and do the can-can. Is that? Serb asked almost apologetically. Big Mac sighed, knowing exactly what she was doing. Go now, please. Got it, Lumberman answered and moved back to his seat. He popped the gear in drive and eased the truck out and away from the house, making sure the engine stayed only at a low idle. Pulling away, the music started to fade. Granny's voice was only once loud enough to be heard. Guards! Guards, help me! Somebody has stolen my morals and good sense of judgment! Serb turned to Big Mac, looking at him with a mix of respect and sorrow for Granny's sacrifice. Dude, your grandma's a fucking boss. Big Mac glanced back to his home and the grandmother he regretfully abandoned. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure you're right. Faintly in the distance, the royal guard's struggle grew to a whisper. Lady, control yourself! Stop removing his armor! Zerb nodded. A fucking boss. End of chapter 14. A fucking boss. A fucking boss, evidently. Because she's removing their armor. Alright. So, we are into the last story of the night. I hope all of you enjoyed that empty plot filler. That is, you know, a very, very, here we are. I'll just drop it one more time there. That is a very, ooh, that's heating up. That's a heating up story there. All right. To answer the question though about the music, I'm not going to play the music for copyright reasons. Yeah, exactly, Paul. I would like to monetize this stream if at all possible. Yes, if at all possible. Okay. Yeah, they got a few of my stories already. But what do you say we get into the last story of the night? This is The Only Good Thing in Hell Is You by Iron Trooper 8. I'm going to have to adjust the... let's get this. There we go. There we go. Huh. Well, for some reason. Here, I'll just... oh, fuck it. Anyway. So we'll just go ahead and get right into it here. The Only Good Thing in Hell Is You by Iron Trooper 8. Requested by Lightning Burn 324. A one-shot I was challenged to write in a day. Not my best work, obviously, but I hope you guys like it. It had been a regular evening in hell, or at least as regular as it could be when you were living in a literal hell. Regardless, our protagonist for this evening was currently eating at a fast food joint, the name of which he didn't care to learn. Death made you way more apathetic than you think, especially after you dealt with the depression of finding out you were sent to hell for reasons you didn't understand. His name was Anon. A suspiciously human fellow that stood out like a sore thumb in the middle of a vomit of colors and pointless extravagant details that was the demon race. Still, he had been enjoying his evening for the first time in forever. A surprising lack of explosions, death threats, and sex requests as he enjoyed a simple meal in peace, fast food being pretty much the only decent thing he had since he got here. And then she showed up. He suddenly heard someone sitting in the seat opposite to his, and was always afraid of the very real possibility of getting shanked for no reason. He looked up, revealing the invader on his table to be a gothic hellhound girl, probably around 20 and admittedly very attractive if not for the scowl on her face. Why was she here? First date and you seriously take me to some crappy fast food joint? Ugh, if you weren't so cute I'd have dumped you already. The invader groaned, already starting to eat his fries. And if Anon was already confused, now he was frozen speechless. Who are you again? He managed to say after a quarter of his fries were already gone. The hellhound only acknowledged him with a stare before she went right back to casually eating his fries. I'm Luna, your girlfriend? What, is that hamburger poisoned or something? Oh, what, is that hamburger poisoned or something? A very real possibility. Yeah, but he had checked twice, so she wasn't a hallucination. Probably. By the way, can you pass me the chicken nuggets? The newly named Luna asked, and without even thinking, Anon pushed the treats closer in an automatic response. As she started nibbling, he took to looking at her again. He didn't know her, not even as an acquaintance, he was sure of it. He'd know, considering he still hadn't met anyone here. Is this a scam or something? The human asked with a raised eyebrow, getting ready to get up and bolt out the door at any sign of danger. But Luna only laughed at his fear, and suddenly the newcomer found himself staring straight into the eyes of the hellhound. And he couldn't help the blush that suddenly rose to his cheeks. The girl was truly beautiful, and he didn't want to think something generic like her eyes was rubies or something, but those shimmering crimson eyes and white irises were probably the second most beautiful thing he'd seen since he'd got here, second only to the woman that they belonged to. God, that was such a sentence. Also, wait, isn't like... Oh, right. Okay, never mind. I was just trying to remember what Luna looked like in my head. But, okay, let's continue. Do you want it to be a scam? She asked casually, resting a paw against her beautiful face. I could take something from you if you liked. Luna leaned in with Luna said in what was probably her best seductive voice. And suddenly, any attraction or trance Anon felt vanished into confusion. What does that mean? He asked. And like lightning, the sultry look was wiped from the hellhound's face, her eyes widening in surprise and embarrassment like the rug was pulled beneath her. I don't know. Figure it out, she huffed, looking away with surprisingly red cheeks. Are you shy? Anon questioned hesitatingly. The human only knew Luna for all of 5 minutes before he could feel. But he could feel this was widely out of character. Give me a second. I need to bring this up a bit bigger for me. I'm on a 4K monitor, and so this was actually very small. Okay. Are you shy? Anon questioned hesitatingly. The human only knew Luna for all of 5 minutes, but he could feel this was wildly out of character. Unfortunately, the only answer he got was for the hellhound to grumble as her cheeks reddened. She looked pretty cute. The fear of getting shanked by the gothic hellhound still hadn't left him, so he didn't voice the traitorous thought out loud. As Luna's silence dragged on, the newcomer eventually figured out she was done with talking and decided to go back to his meal, Luna hesitantly following. He would soon be left wishing she'd go back to being meek when the hellhound started complaining about the food again, her hand fishing for his. He gripped it tightly in an attempt to make her stop, but after a brief yelp, she was right back to mouthing off the only decent meal he had around here. But I'm genuinely confused where this story is jumping around. Anyway, seeing her red cheeks and her wagging tail somewhat made up for it, though. But eventually, he finished his meal and left the fast food place behind. His mind split between whether he wished to go back there or not. On one hand, it was the only place he could eat well. On the other, Luna was there, and he wasn't about to spend 20 minutes eating to a goth girl complaining about what he was eating while mooching off his order again. What? Okay, we'll keep going here. Although she was remarkably not murder-happy or horny beyond belief, which seemed to be the two personalities in hell, and she admittedly was cute, maybe if he tried, he could have a decent conversation for one. So, what are we watching today? Jesus Christ Almighty! The human screamed as he leaped backward, about to bolt for his life when he suddenly recognized the face behind him. Luna! And there she was, the goth hellhound herself, both arms crossed over her chest and a bored look on her face. Yeah? Who else would it be? She replied in a matter-of-fact tone. By the way, you should probably not say that name down here, the hellhound said with a seemingly worried voice. Why are you following me? Demanded the human, completely unaffected by her answer. Because I'm your girlfriend and we're going home? Luna replied in the same smug, matter-of-fact tone, as if everything she stated were simple truths and he was insane for not knowing. I don't even have a girlfriend, the human argued back. What, are you trying to gaslight me or something? And just like before, Luna's smug bitch expression immediately fell when he said those words, her eyes widening like she was a kid caught with its hand in the cookie jar. No, she squeaked, taking a second to recompose her voice before continuing. You asked me out a month ago, remember? I agreed because I pitied how you kept that weak human form of yours. The Hellhound continued an attempt to go back to her bitchy character. It didn't work. Anon could see the nervous sweat running down her forehead and the fear in her eyes. At first, he felt an urge to help the distressed girl, but the urge was quickly smothered by the realization he was talking to an insane person. I'm probably reading a story from an insane person. A very common occurrence in these days, unfortunately. In both counts. So he did what he always did in this situation. He ran as fast as he could towards his house, avoiding every demon that crossed his path as best as he could in his mad dash. Wait! Hold up! He heard the Hellhound yelp behind him, doing her best to keep up. Unfortunately for her, she wouldn't catch up to the human in time. Anon soon reached his apartment, and after a tense elevator ride where he was half sure Luna would rip the roof off, he reached his house, slamming the door with more force than necessary and closing every deadbolt. With a relieved sigh, the human dropped down on his couch and turned on the television, hoping something on TV could get his mind off what the hell just happened. He would only enjoy this piece for around half an hour when he had to go to the bathroom, only to suddenly hear the television turning back on as he returned to the living room. Sup? And there she was, the Hellhound herself, already casually sat on his couch. TV remote in one hand and the other fiddling with her phone, completely casual as if she belonged there. The question of how the hell did she get up here died in his throat, as Anon noticed the warm wind coming from his open window and the sweat running down Luna's forehead. With a mental sigh, the human decided it wasn't worth it to resist anymore. She wasn't trying to hurt him like every other hell citizen anyway. Maybe he could talk to her about it. Hey, Anon greeted her back, just as casually as he closed the window and made to sit beside her on the couch. Conflicted to see her tail starting to wag behind her as she leaned into him tentatively. The human sighed again. So, what is this all actually about? And no, I'm your girlfriend stuff is going to work. It's not going to work. Oh, right, okay. Anon asked softly, only to feel the girl beside him suddenly going stiff as a board, her tail stopping midair as if it had run out of energy, the bitchy, cool girl persona crumbling in an instant. Several moments passed without the Hellhound saying anything, not even moving an inch from her spot, but right before the human felt the need to say anything, she finally spoke up. Her voice broke. She sounded nervous and slightly afraid of what Anon didn't know. I might have been observing you, the Hellhound girl explained nervously. Oh. The human replied, a dumb look on his face. Yeah, that probably was a very real fear for Luna to have, but it was just a par for the course after this whole day. Okay, and the reason you did all of this today was you were different, Luna tried to explain. Different? How? I can't explain. Luna shook her head. When I looked at you, I just felt weird, like my insides burned and fluttered like butterflies, she said, quickly adding, but in a good way, like there was this light scaring off the cold apathy and violence of this hell. You don't belong in here, I'm sure of it. There must have been a mistake somewhere. Your soul is just too pure and warm for hell. The Hellhound girl explained shyly, her face burning red. And I'm sorry to say this, but I'm happy that mistake happened. I want to learn more about you. I want to bathe in that light more when you touched my hand back when we were eating. When we were eating, it felt like my soul had found peace. Okay. I want to learn more about you. I want to bathe in that light more. There's supposed to be a period up there. Okay. When you touched my hand back when we were eating, it felt like my soul had found peace. Luna finished, finally looking into Anon's eyes, and he was surprised to see her eyes were even more beautiful than before. More lit up. There was hope behind them, something he damn near forgot existed in hell. So what you're saying is, you want to be my girlfriend? She nodded at him, and he didn't need to think twice. How could he refuse such an earnest confession? Especially coming from a girl as cute as Luna. The fact she was the only person in hell he could talk to talk with, notwithstanding. Oh, okay, he stuttered, his cheeks glowing red. If you'll have me, I'd like to learn more about you too. Luna's eyes widened, and in an instant she buried her face in the nape of his neck, in a hug filled with longing and love, her face burning and her tail wagging. It didn't take long for Anon to reciprocate. Luna was much softer than he expected, inside and out. So, you want to, choose something to watch? Luna asked casually, trying to slip back into her persona, and failing miserably. The excitement and happiness in her voice was palpable, and suddenly she seemed less like a hellhound and more like a happy puppy. Sure, consider it a date, the human replied with a chuckle, feeling her cheeks burn even hotter beside his neck. But I want to cuddle a little more. Is that okay? The girl grew even hotter still, the hug growing tighter while her tail went to overdrive, becoming an adorable blur of black and white. Seems like hell wouldn't be so lonely after all, for either of them. That... it was okay. But, that's the last story of the night. I'm going to go ahead and rest up, because going from 9,500 words to shortly a very shorter story is very jarring, and I need to rest up. And I also have work tomorrow, so I'm going to go ahead and get the fuck some food in me and go the fuck to sleep. So, I hope all of you enjoyed this, this Labor Day live stream, this live narration stream. I'm going to plan on doing more on these, more of these in the, every 2 to 3 weeks or so on. And, yeah, I just hope that you all enjoyed. Mm-hmm. No, you're fine, empty plot filler. That's totally fine. It's also kind of... That Luna story was really bad. Anyway. Wait, Wuten, what's going on, Numkid XXX? What's up? I'll just, coming down from the narrations, but yeah. My goodness. Did all of you enjoy the stories tonight? Oh, that was fun. Okay. I need you help with the story. I don't really do that personally. If you want me to narrate the story, I'm totally fine with it. You can make that request next stream, but yeah, I don't really do any editing or pre-reading or any sort of that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, all of you have a great night, have a great Labor Day, and I will see all of you in the next video. But